it's it's like I don't. It's hard. Like there was someone I used to see,
Uh-huh.
and it was like the things they were interested in, I didn't give a shit about. So it's like I couldn't get interested in what they were like doing.
Wow, Isaac, sounds like you need to be more open.
But no, but it's like, like why should I have to always be interested in anything anyone wants me to be interested in? You know what I mean?
You shouldn't.
Right. So it's
But
like,
you said that one of the things you appreciate with me is how I can find something interesting in almost anything we could talk about.
yeah, but it's like, like
There are limits.
no, but it's like because you talk about a range of things. If like we always talked about like history
oh, yeah,
of
no, you're right.
history of Russia, like every
Yeah.
day, all the time, it's like eventually I'd get fucking bored.
Yeah.
So it's like openness to anything, not like. So if they are interested in one thing, it's like it'll get boring, right? So
Yeah, I get what you
that's not the same thing. So yeah. So it's more like that similar like openness to like more like curiosity and interest to like broad things, as well as like creative subjects. But also like the act that they have a it's like they have a mind for like ideas, almost.
Sounds like you want a business partner, Isaac.
I think
Sure.
I actually don't think I would want someone who's like,
What, all up in your business?
or like doing the same thing as me, or like in a weird way. Like I would worry that I would be like jealous if they were like better than me at something that I wanted to do.
Really?
You know? Like I don't know. Like it's weird. It's like
I mean, I'm
know.
trying to judge you, it's just interesting.
like because I don't know how I would feel. Because like it's more that usually my feeling is like because you know I'm like an art elitist, right?
Yes. I mean,
So-
you're an art objectivist, apparently, which I
Yeah.
don't really know what it means.
So it's like there was someone else I used to like. I went on a few dates with, but it was like they did like fine art, conceptual art, and it was like all garbage to me. So it was like
I'm sorry, I can't respect you.
that's basically it. It's like I don't respect what you do.
It's like I respect all women, but not you.
But it's like, I can respect the person, but it's like I can't like I respect the person enough too much to like their face that I like their stuff. You know what I mean?
Or so you say.
Best thing is like I've never really had a proper like serious long-term relationship ever. So it's not like I don't even know what I would be willing or like care about. You know what I mean?
Sure. But it
Yeah,
almost sounds like
a
you
lot.
need to get into one so that you can get that answer,
Yeah.
because you might never find out what it is you want until you get into one.
Right. Yeah. So well, I do try, but it's like
Sure.
and it is like these own. But it's like how can I say? It's like. But also another part of it is that it's like they have like affection for me, and like they they want to be with me, and it's like they're like physically like enjoy being around me, and you know like physical affection.
What exactly are you referring to?
So it's like someone I can be like.
Cuddly with?
I guess that's a word. Or it's like we're like building a relationship. It's not like we have it's not just like a status quo. It's not like an existing relationship that has its like it is this. It's like
Okay.
we're like trying to like make each other's lives better and be like care for each other and be nice
No,
things.
you don't.
And, like, we like try and like we care about them and we like we like want to get more attached to them, and we're willing to like intertwine our lives together almost in a sense.
I don't like these abstractions.
Like meet each other's friends and family
It's
and
like getting
live
overly
together
poetic
and
with shit. Like it makes it hard to have a conversation about it.
it's like someone who like is okay.
It's like I want somebody that I can marry. Yeah, of course everyone does. Somebody that can meet my family. Yeah, of course everyone does. But what do those means in specifics? What are the characteristics that a person needs in order to be able to meet your family and fit in?
But I don't even care if my family like them.
Okay, didn't you just bring up family? I'm confused.
No, but it's more. It's like
Yes.
it's almost like more like I want to be around them. It's like having someone that I want to spend all my time with.
Sure.
So it's like, what is that? So it's like,
What does that mean?
what is the sort of person I would want to be around all the time? So it's like someone
Isaac,
who's
married.
someone who's like very like someone who's like interested, like who I don't know. It's like they don't get like bored of me. What they're doing, like.
Well, yeah, that'd be a problem.
They don't
Spend the rest of
want
your
to-
life together, they're already tired of you from the first date.
Yeah. But it's more like we can talk about anything. And it's
Sure.
like interesting, like there's no limits. And it's like we're like trying to like get to know each other and understand each other and like sort of like it's like someone like say I'm trying to pursue making my stories and shows and ideas. So it's like they're interested in like that, and me in like they're willing to sort of help me or talk to me about like are interested in
This is like. I don't know how else to phrase it. It's like it's very egocentric at the moment, but then again, that is what
It's
you're
not-
talking about. What you're
and
looking
that's
for.
what no, but it's not so much that like it's like I want to do the same for them.
Okay.
So it's not like I just want someone who's like a fucking yes man. Who just like
Bullshit.
slave, does anything I want. Like but it's like someone who's like takes an interest in what I do and what I'm trying to do in my life.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
what's
same.
gonna happen.
And it's like the same for me with them. Right? It's like wanting to make each other's lives better because we like have a connection.
That's too much work, Isaac. Who wants that?
Everybody.
But again, you're always talking in abstractions. It doesn't seem like you actually have a clear idea in mind and what the fuck it is that you
Yeah,
want.
but then how do I know what you mean by not an abstraction? Like her hair has to be this long, this color, and then actually this height.
That
and
would
shit
be
stuff.
specific, but doesn't have anything to do with what you're saying.
Yeah, but how is it like me saying someone who listens and takes an interest in things I care about? How is that vague? That's not abstract. It's like very specific.
Nah. It's more like,
It's like-
what things? Like, does it have to be literally every fucking thing? Some things are more important than others.
No, but it's like, yeah, but like key, like things that are important to me, they take an interest in me.
Okay.
Or like they're willing to. It mostly comes from the idea of like, if I'm someone I want to spend loads of time with, it's like, what do we do together?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like going for walks and going traveling. It's like, yeah, but then it's not like you could do that with anybody. It's not. It's more like being able to like, I think a lot of it's to do with being able to be like very affectionate, and like me being able to give affection to somebody,
Okay.
because it's like I don't have that opportunity very much. Because yeah, you might have like physical affection and like friends. It's like very sort of, but not like I can just be as affectionate as I want, right? Because
Okay.
it's like, say there's just someone I have a very like casual relationship with, I can't do and be with them as much as I want, do the things I want to do with them. Or it's like I have no outlet for that aspect of myself. It's not so much. It's more like it's that similar like openness to experience, or like openness to ideas and the sort of discussion aspect. Like they like to talk about anything and are interested in anything, but like they're like excited to like talk about things and like discuss ideas. Because I feel like
So
that's
an
something that,
openness then, an interest and a curiosity.
yeah. So it's like they have the like, so
Okay, so
when
it
we,
is the general aspect that you want.
yeah, because it's hard to be specific about looks and appearance and like. 'Cause
Yeah,
even if
but, like I'm not gonna help you there anyway. Like
no, it's like, yeah, like if
it's
they,
like you like what you like, and if it's so fucking important that you'll ruin relationships, what the fuck am I gonna do?
no, it's like because say for example, you could have like someone who's like, they could be like a science teacher, right? But they love sci-fi and fantasy. You know what I mean? It's like they're open to anything, and because they like science, they love, you know, they're like open-minded. So they're not
Most
technically
people are
creative,
into science, seem to be into sci-fi.
right? So it's like, but they're not what you would call creative, right? Like they don't do art or anything, like music or blah blah. But like that openness exists there, and they might like and love art, but they're not. But they're like willing to discuss ideas about things, or
I
like.
don't know.
So it's kind of that aspect of a personality. It's like, because
Have
I
you
feel
not
like that's
found that?
not really.
Okay.
Mostly because it's like people. It's like they're like unwilling to like sort of invest in learning about something, or like listen.
like,
Just listen. You know what I mean?
That's actually related to what I was about to say. I honestly don't think you'll find that in a lot of people unless they've been in a long-term relationship, because it's basically important. Like, how to put this? Like, an openness to ideas is basically an openness to discussion, and people who like can't have a conversation are completely dysfunctional in relationships. So so either they learn how to do that, or they just can't have long-term relationships. So
It's
you're gonna.
like-
Isaac, basically what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to look for sloppy seconds, okay? That's your best bet.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I told you the list of people that I see, and so, and
Yes.
most people are sloppy seconds, right? So it's
Yeah. Yeah, I probably should have found a better phrase. Like, I mean, in terms of long-term relationships.
yeah, they're like, they're experienced, they're wise, they have wisdom.
And preferably not damaged goods like some of the people you described.
Yeah, but then that like, damn, I get what you mean. But it's like the fact that they're like willing and want to like get better.
Yeah. It's
So
admirable, but it doesn't mean it's not
yeah.
going to be problematic for you.
No, but it's
So the
like,
question is, how much are you willing to invest into that? Like, there has to be a lot of other upsides, in my opinion, for it to be worth it.
Yeah. But then, like, say for me, right? It's like a lot of times I can be with someone and just like listen, for like hours.
Yeah.
So it's like, say they're talking, like they're explaining their job or their day or like something like, or like they're trying to talk something about me they're interested in, and like I don't understand things, so I'll like
Ask questions.
ask them questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like constantly me asking questions, like them talking at me and me asking questions. So like, but it seems a lot of the time it's like the other way around. It doesn't happen.
Really?
Like-
yeah, no. That sounds about right. Most people don't have that, that, how to put this? That instinct? For some reason. Like, I don't understand what the fuck, like, what do you get out of any relationship? Like, even friendships, like, if you can't just take an interest in what the fuck the other person is saying.
So I try to be more. I try to be less like pushing, like less like trying to like express myself almost, because it's like I don't want to like overload people. Because it's like I can just sit and listen to them talk for hours, and
Yeah.
they can't do the same. But then it's like maybe they just can't do that for hours. So it's like it should dose or whatever. But then
Yeah, but they didn't get the shit together.
yeah. And that's what it means, like the actual interest they have in me is like they
It
don't
doesn't feel
want to.
superficial, basically, at some
Yeah,
point.
it's like they feel like they're sort of humoring me, or they're like being nice, right? So it's kind of like it doesn't seem like genuine interest to listen to. It's like
It's a courtesy.
kind of, or it's more like, but it's not. I feel like it's not like their decision, like their sort of. They're not making a conscious decision to like
Yeah, but still.
lose interest, you know.
It's, how to put this? It's too bad.
Yeah. But then you get a lot of that with women where it's like they won't ask questions, especially on like dating apps and texting.
Why are women so awkward?
Well, obviously, like I have no experience of like what like. So for me, it's like I'll ask questions and they'll put like a one-word answer, and they won't lead the conversation. They won't
Jesus
like
Christ.
back and forth.
Isaac, here's what you do. Find a female comedian, okay?
Yeah. It's like, well, like they kind of. Then I always feel like there's so many women that I've met with or whatever, and it's like they have. It's like they want you to be the one pursuing them,
Yeah.
and like being not pushy, but like
No, we've been over this. Like, we know how women tend to act for some fucking reason, but like it's like a lot of it is bad for relationships, and how much should you be willing to basically fucking teach them?
But then that's what I mean. It's like, but the fact it's like if you don't ever ask me a
Like,
question,
Isaac,
that's
this
like-
is why I'm telling you, find somebody who's already been in a relationship, because these tendencies don't last in they don't work in
Yeah.
long-term relationships.
yeah. But like, because
So
around
either
my age, it's
you
quite
need to
common.
be willing to put in the fucking work, or find somebody who's already had the work put into them.
But if you think like people who are around my age, like women, it's like 30-ish.
Sorry, I'm just curious. How many other guys have you talked to on this topic? Because I'm curious if some of them are like just as bad, because this feels very like female-centric, but I don't know how true that is.
I've not really, well, I think a lot of guys I've met have mentioned it, like, or like, it's common, like I've read people talk about it online and stuff, like,
Yeah,
it's hard to,
it
it's
seems
like,
to be a common experience. It's just that I don't
Yeah.
know if
it's a common experience to put, like, the guy has to put in loads of work to
yeah.
maintain a conversation. Right?
Like, to me, it's sort of funny because people complain about there being almost like a double standard in that, like, women just have to look pretty and men just have to have a personality, or like be able to be funny or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure women would actually be able to like have a lot more successful relationship if they develop the same skills that are expected of men, but they don't seem willing to.
It's just like it's the
Like basically, I think you could just find an average man if you were gay right now and just have a successful relationship from the get-go.
yeah. It's like
Isaac, I'm gonna need you to try and conversion therapy yourself in the other direction.
yeah. It's like you're that desperate for a relationship that you like swap orientation.
It's like, fuck it, I can't afford to be picky. I'm bisexual now.
Yeah. I don't know what like. It's so weird for me that like I can't imagine being in a conversation where I'm like ending. I'm like forcing us. I'm like forcing the other person to continue the conversation. So like,
Have they done that to you?
like imagine if I said, "Hey, how are you?" and you go, "I'm good." That's the end. Like, and then now it's my turn again. Like,
Dude,
You know what I mean?
again, like, when this is a relationship that, how to put this, I'm not forced to try and maintain. I have so little patience for that shit. I just go, oh, thank you for the contribution. I was supposed to have this conversation by myself now. Like,
yeah, like I do want to say that a lot of the time, but then, like, slowly, like you can kind of get through that up until like a first date. So say like you're online, you're chatting, and you text, and you go and meet, and it's like, because a lot of women are very shy, or they're just not as, I don't know, experienced dating apps, or they're not used to. Like they're more face to face. I don't know, but like a lot of the time, there's women is like you chat online and they seem like the most quiet, shy person ever. You meet them in person,
Sure.
like they're way more conversationalist. Like they'll talk and ask, like they'll be completely different.
yeah.
So it's like I kind of
And sometimes the other way around. Sometimes they're hot
Yeah.
shit over chat and then they're fucking super shy in person.
and so I kind of give the benefit of the doubt until I see them in person. So it's like in person is kind of where you make more judgments, right? And then also like you're seeing them physically, because again it's like physical attraction is important, so that you might see them in person and be like, yeah, it's not like
Sorry, now that I can view you in 3D, this isn't.
no, but it's like you can. There might just be something physically you don't like, like not that they're like super ugly or something, but it's just
Yeah.
not what you
But
like.
that is what I said. Now that I can see you in 3D, I'm noticing some flaws I wasn't planning.
Sure.
I couldn't see previously.
But then that's super common with women, where it's like,
Yeah, like,
profile.
they know how to fake a photo.
right, but it's like, or like their profile is one low resolution photo of their face, so it's like you have zero idea what they look like in person. So it's like, it's almost like they're doing themselves a disservice, because it's like
By doing what?
by like not showing themselves. Because say a guy like, say they're like, they meet someone and the guy doesn't find them attractive, but it's like you would have avoided, you wouldn't have had to go through the whole like wasting each other's time if you like actually had photos online, like if you showed what you look like properly.
Yeah. Like, how to put this? It's a first impression thing. Like, a lot of people feel like they just need to get their foot in the door.
Yeah.
I don't like this shit myself, but I understand why they do it. Like, Tinder and shit like that is just fucking awful for any sort of relationship building. It's just like Russian roulette whether or not you find somebody who's actually compatible by the time you meet them.
Yeah. But maybe it's just because in London or whatever. But it's like, or nowadays, it's like hard to meet. It's like harder to meet people in person unless it's like maybe a specific thing, like a singles event or like a party. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's a lot easier to like start chatting with someone on an app because you kind of both know you're there looking for the same thing. Because like you could see someone you like at a party and go up to them and they've got a boyfriend. So it's like
Yeah.
the hesitation and the unknowing is like part of the issue of like
Yeah,
approaching people.
Get the rejection, move on. It doesn't have to be that, but
Yeah. But then
it's like, let's be honest. Being told they already have a boyfriend is like the best kind of rejection you can get anyway.
yeah. But it's like yeah, like for like path of least resistance. So people will like do dating apps because I don't have to like get rejected as like often, or it's like if I match with someone, it's like they're interested. So there's like the rejection isn't. It's not like me getting rejected. It's like we're just figuring out if we like each other. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's not the same. It's just being like shot down.
Yeah, I get you.
I feel like I'm too distracted. I'm not doing enough work because I'm too busy chasing women.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like, I think the worst thing is if you're getting the worst of both worlds, like, the dating shit isn't working out because you're focusing on, or like you can't get the guilt of not getting work done
Yeah.
off your chest and
They're
out of
like
your mind.
ruining each other, basically.
Yeah, it can go in both directions. Yes.
I don't think I am. It's just more. I don't know what it is. I just have some sort of block or something. I need to like get back into the rhythm again. But I have like a better rhythm than before. Where
Rhythm
I
of
was,
the
like,
night.
I was like 6 to 8 hours a day drawing non-stop, and I was just like burnt out. Fucking hated what I was doing because it was all like clinical and fucking.
Yeah.
It was like.
I think part of the problem is when it feels like you're drawing energy from the same source. But, I mean, you should be able to both get the work done and go out and have these dates. It's just that you also need to not have energy vampires like
Yeah.
like your current situation. Like, don't put up with bullshit. You shouldn't have to, okay?
Yeah. Hmm.
Like you said, if it feels like you're a fucking therapist, something's fucking wrong here.
That's right. Like I feel like I'm like always the therapist because it's like I'm like
In every
I seem to be
relationship?
way more interested in them and like willing to like understand them than they are for me.
Sure. And then what do you do?
Like it always just kind of fizzles out, and it's like it just becomes casual, and it's like just like friends.
Ah, friendship.
So it's like I don't put in the I like stop investing myself in it because they're not showing any interest to like invest in the same way I would. Or it's like they kind of want a specific type of relationship or like a certain level of like intimacy or like a connection. So then they like limit what they invest, but also it's a lot of like how much time they invest as well.
And like, if this shit is true, that's a fucking terrible attitude to have. If you're not willing to invest like properly from the beginning, you're not gonna get anything out of it anyway. So you're wasting everyone's time. Fucking get your shit together.
Yeah. But then it's like it's also like the willingness to want to spend time with the person because it's like
Yeah, why the fuck would
if I
you
see
do that?
them once a month in person, it's like what it's like not personal at all, really. You know what I mean? It's kind of, or like it will never get to a certain point. It'll always kind of stay as it is, right?
Okay.
To some degree. Well, that's what I feel like. It's like
I'm not sure what you mean.
Like say
Can you
you
elaborate?
progress a relationship with someone, if you like measure it by like how much time you spend with them, and like
Yeah.
if you assume that like when you're spending time with them, you're like getting to know each other and having experiences and enjoying each other's company. So it's like if people see each other once a week versus once a month, it's like the connection and like they have with the other person is like progresses quicker or it's like stronger in my mind. Assuming it's like the same level of like interaction for both. Like if I
Wait, repeat that.
like so if I put the same amount of investment into the relationship, but like at the same amount of time, but I see one
As the
person
other person.
every week, but the other person every month, it's like my level of attachment or affection for that person I see more often, right? It's probably going to be stronger.
This light, but now you can see them, the rays of grace.
Yes.
Upon the clear demigod,
But
if
where
the
does that
rays
take
of
you?
Glen the Elden as an ally, pray that
So
you
it's like
face the challenge. Upon the clear demigod,
it's more
if
about
the
like
rays and
the
Elden
person's
ring as an
willingness
ally,
to want
I
to
pray
spend time
that
with
you
me.
have
So if
to
it's like
face the
they only ever want to like sacrifice time in their
Are you saying
life.
this as an observation, or are you saying that you can do something about this?
Well, it's like an observation in terms of like what I was saying, like the amount of investment I'm willing to put into a relationship. Like I'm willing to put time in, but then
Yeah.
they're only willing to like adjust their life to see me once a month. So it's like when I was saying before, like I stop investing so much.
Yeah.
It's because they choose not to, right?
Yeah.
So
But
yeah, it's
like,
like
what's the protocol for that? Just hope you meet somebody who cares enough, or actually try to get the other person to be more invested.
you can try both, but then it's just it depends what you're willing to put up with. Because it's like a temporary thing, like oh, I'm traveling or I'm working on this specific thing for this amount of time or something. It's like
oh yeah, if they're about to start a vacation just before you.
I'm thinking more like
Sure.
long term. It's like if it's like they're not trying to, or they're not like wanting to, or you're not willing to make changes to like see each other more. You know what I mean? It's like then that's kind of where it becomes like a casual relationship, and it's like it becomes more just sort of like friends basically. And then
Who
you
would
might
want
stick
that
with each other.
shit?
Yeah. But even with your friends, it's like if your friend like never wants to see you, then that's why you get like friends where you just kind of drift apart, right? And you just stop seeing them because you're not both willing to like spend time.
I think I've told you about this. That like one of the saddest realizations I've had is that friendship is very much about convenience. Like when you stop having like good excuses to see each other, most people don't.
Yeah. That's true.
So like availability is incredibly important because like what the fuck is the value of a friendship if the friend is never there? Like you can't it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You can't measure it.
That's why it's like there's like value in the time you spend together as well. So it's like
Yeah.
if it was like me and you, we just played Heroes of the Storm and like never really talked.
Yeah,
right?
but
we just kind of
like the problem is when you reach the conclusion of opportunity cost, like all these casual relationships that you have, they all might have been good experiences, but they weren't the experience that you actually wanted. So it feels sort of wasted and can sort of even ruin the experience that would have been good otherwise.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm just gonna get my ass kicked by Margit for a bit, so if I seem unattentive, that's probably why.
In search of the elder.
Sure, bad.
Fuck, he knows I'm looking for the Eldenring, Isaac. What do I do? My cover's blown.
By the flame
Just promise him you're not.
of ambition.
Dude, you got the wrong guy. I swear.
Yeah. It's like he's gonna have like a signed letter from his mum. No, look, I'm not after the Elden Ring.
It's obviously my handwriting.
Like, it's like the king's seal on it says, "This one is not looking for the Elden Ring. Trust me."
The seal itself says all that. Jesus Christ.
No, like a letter with the seal on it.
Yeah,
like
it's
like
just the way you
king's
phrase
written a
that.
letter.
It's like, wow, you read a lot into that seal.
No, but like, isn't that a thing like in the past? Where it's like
Yeah.
a king's seal, like whatever you say goes because you have the king's seal. Or,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like knight.
It's a symbol of authority. Uh-oh. Oh no. You throw out the daggers. I do not like it. Stop it with the daggers! You fucking cunt! God, this is a toxic relationship. What is it?
I wonder what level of time delay there is.
Well,
Too long.
art of passing
On the screen, it's like Margaret has like 3/4 of his health still.
Ah, it's basically dead. I was like, you're too far back. Jesus! Oh god, shields are hard against the shit! The range! Ah! Oh, fuck you, enough with the... Haha. God, it feels like a classic Dark Souls boss. I'm sure you know what I mean by that, but basically, like the best strategy in the old Dark Souls games was just to go sword and board, and then you just hug their armpits, and then it's like, look at this, like I'm not getting hit by half this shit.
You just rotate around.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't even need to dodge. You just play like a pussy.
I have completed like all the Dark Souls, so
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, this is what I mean by classic Dark Souls was. Just because you played it doesn't mean that that's what I mean.
Oh, that's how I play. That might have been a good plan.
Ow, shit. Fuck your knives.
You're mad.
I wonder if I can deflect his...
Perfection.
Yes. Now get fucked. Damn it, I actually wanted to see if I could, like, this... I have this retaliation ability that works in magic, and I wonder if his daggers are considered magic. So when he throws them, I just whip that shit out.
You reflect it.
Yeah. Anyway, I wasn't actually intending to talk about Margit while I fought him. I was trying to... Like I said, my goal was to see if I could juggle a conversation at the same time, and apparently I kind of succeeded, but it was about a completely incorrect topic. Where the fuck were we? People being willing to invest. What cunts?
People are wasting time, yeah.
Forgive me.
But it's just a way of
To
measuring
see
like
whether,
their interest in you, isn't it?
seems
It's
more
like
torrent,
they
I
never
do
want
as
to
I
see you.
merely pretended.
Like, how many
There is but
people
one other thing I can do to I can take you
do
to
you
gathering place
see
of
on a regular...
tarnished champions,
Wait, how do I phrase this?
guided
How
by
many people
grace.
have you, like, had first dates with?
Very
Because I'm
well.
wondering if you
Let
should
my
basically
hand
be
rest
more
upon you
pushy,
for but a
or
moment.
or like cut your losses. Like, then again, one basically leads to the other. Like if you're
how
saying
many-
that I'm like I'm going to need you to be willing to like invest a little bit into this. Like if they say no, then it's like, well what the fuck is the point?
When you say first date, you mean like how many people that I'm currently talking to have I had dates with?
No, not currently. Like total,
Like
because
in
I'm
my-
wondering how many you've been able to like get
Both.
to the point of like on the path to a long-term relationship, so to speak.
Yeah, like on the path, I would say
What a term.
like
They're on
not
the path.
many.
Yeah.
Like
Can you give it like a percentage? I think that might be helpful.
very low. Well, Probably only like 2 or 3 people.
Hmm.
Because a lot of first dates don't go anywhere. You know what I mean? It's like so.
Yeah.
I must have had.
You're in
Oh
your
God, how many first dates? Like 20, 30 plus.
Do you think increasing your volume would help or hurt that? Like just the number of
I
people
think it's more
that you see.
probably. It's probably more to do with like what I pursue, or like the apps I use. Like there's apps that are more like serious,
Sure.
right? And like the people where I meet people, or like the kind of social spaces that I go to, a lot of people there are like looking for casual relationships, or like, you know, like non-serious. So
Yeah, that's what I'd assume based on the
yeah, it's like,
places you've
but then
described.
but then yeah, so it's, but then it's those places I go where I enjoy going, and then the people there is like people I like. So it's,
But unfortunately, none of them are long-term material.
or it's like it seems like the people that were like they're willing to have certain relationships, but so it's not just like most people, or like it seems like most people are like, any relationship they have, it has to be serious or leading somewhere. Right?
Okay.
It can't be like a casual relationship, or like that's like they can't sort of differentiate between. If I have a relationship with someone, it has to be serious and going somewhere, or we have to like want to be together. So being able to have like multiple casual relationships, but while still looking for something serious, is like not common, I don't think. Or it's like a lot of people who are fine with having lots of casual relationships, like, are open to more serious things, but it's like, it almost seems like it's harder to get with those people because they have so much else available to them. It's like, yeah. Or like or it's almost, it's actually like, it seems like it's better because they actually know more, then because they've had so many relationships, or it's like they have a better idea of what they actually want. So I feel like the
Wait,
places I go, and like, so people that are more open to different types of relationships are like, have better understanding of themselves about what they actually want in a serious relationship. So
But they never seem to get there.
yeah, or it's like maybe it's like their standards are too high, or it's like they're too busy with the casual relationships to pursue other relationships. So it's sort of double-edged thing.
Yeah, it's a little weird to me because to me it makes sense to be willing to have, like, do a lot of dating and juggling multiple people until we end up in a serious relationship. But I wonder if there's too many people who are like, how to put this? The ones that are well suited for long-term relationships will be immediately turned off by that and like not interested because of that. So you like have to pick and choose. I'm assuming that's also what you were trying to say.
Yeah. It's kind of, yeah. So it's like, there's like people and places and things that like where it's more likely to happen and match with me. But then there's also places where it's like, you know, the people there are looking for something serious, so it's like difficult choice almost. Because like if you go to the one where it's like you're just looking for something serious, you get like less opportunities and less actual physical dates and less like matches, and you know, it's like like if you match with someone, it's more likely to be serious, but then it's less likely to actually that you will match with someone. You know what I mean? So it's like
Shit, I was able to follow you up until the end.
so it's like it's like 2 paths you can go. It's like one where it's like each match is more likely to be serious, but you're less likely to make matches
Yeah.
because there's just everyone's more like specific. But then the other avenue is like more matches and more physical meeting with people and more like face-to-face opportunities.
Yeah, do you think
But-
you found the balance?
But it's like less likely for it to be like serious.
Because hypothetically, there's like a middle ground there, even if you're optimizing for relationship, because you
But
need
then-
exposure to more people in order to
Like,
find a
yeah.
good match.
So but then it's also the thing you were saying before about like having experience of relationships, like gives you a better idea of what you want. So
Yeah. It's
doing
like,
casual, less serious
honestly-
relationships is
honestly-
less hurtful to the people you're like letting down.
shit, because I was trying to talk over you, I didn't pick up on what you said.
Stop talking over me.
I'm
Bitch.
sorry. Repeat that.
Like, if you don't know what you want from a long-term relationship, or like what you want from relationships, so it's almost like you need experience, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you feel like you don't want to lead people on and like constantly like you're using someone else to like gain experience, but you're just like using them almost. So it's like the feeling of like because it's casual or it's less intense
It's like,
relationships.
I understand
like-
this perspective because I've thought about this shit myself, but also there's no point in thinking like this because
Yeah.
you're gonna have to take a chance at some point anyway. You can't treat everybody as like
And then-
fucking
yeah, but it's also like you don't know if like you can't know if you want to settle down with someone until you've spent a long time with them.
Sure.
So it's like you have to be willing and risking investing a lot into something to know if you actually want it like properly.
Yes.
Like you could be dating someone for like 6 months and then realize that you're not
Fuck
gonna,
this
it's not
bitch.
going to work out.
Yeah.
And but you so like you have to hurt them basically to like break up, right?
Yeah.
But it's like there's no other route, or basically, it's like good route. You could like fucking arrange marriage and shit, but then it's like, or just rush like meet and then get married really fast and blah, 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 but then that's like just as like risky. And the hurt is
Yeah.
even worse because it's like divorce and kids and da da da.
Yeah.
So it's just like you have to be willing to hurt people and get hurt.
Basically.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure the phrase "willing to hurt people" is the best one. Like, yeah, well,
Like you have to be okay with letting people down, you know, like breaking up with people. You have to be
yeah.
like
It's just
know
like
when to do it.
don't cause any unnecessary hurt, but like
no.
don't make the correct choices. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, try and be like kind when you're like, or like give them reasons why and things, you know.
Nah, fuck that shit.
It's like I'm sick of you and just walk out.
Fuck this. I know what they say.
It's like fucking bitch under your breath and just leave.
I'm sorry. What did it say?
You just say like fucking bitch under your breath and just walk out.
Oh, under your breath.
Under your kill.
Oh, even better.
Under your nose.
I thought he said something like steal her breath and run away. Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, slit her throat, run off.
It's like, yeah, that's definitely a more mature way of dealing with that situation. Absolutely. So what's your current plan for dating?
Do it.
Oh, welcome to the realm.
Yeah,
I
you're not gonna
teach.
change
Come
anything?
take and explore
Like,
this
throw
is
him
what
Like,
Like, what's
my
been in
net
your
wide.
mind? Like, what's your plan?
Away.
Okay, yeah, but that's what you've been doing. Does it feel like it's been working?
No, what I've been doing before was more
most tarnished
like,
you are well.
looking like going into it, pursuing it
May the
as
gold
pursuing something serious. Whereas now it's like just kind of being willing to see where it goes. And, because I don't, because you can like progress from something casual to something serious. So it's like,
Yeah.
and then people, it's like it's more like having a longer view of relationships rather than like super intense. Like we have to like see each other all the time and has to progress. Be like you have to like really quickly like, you know, invest in it and or like I don't like the typical like boyfriend girlfriend dating, seeing each other a lot, you know, like building the relationship like a pace, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because also I'm like trying to focus on myself and like my work and job and life and stuff. Maybe it's good that I'm not putting so much like effort or like trying to invest too heavily into something really quickly.
Again, I thought that I understand, but it doesn't necessarily work that way. You need to get experience, like you, just like everyone else, need to get into these dates in order to figure out what you want, and it's probably going to change what you want.
I feel
not
like
just
that
like,
is, yeah.
You getting that experience might not only change like what you want out of the relationship, might change what you want out of life. So like you can't just
I think that's good. Because now I'm like, it's almost like I have lots of different types of relationships. So it's like the more experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then
also, they don't have to be sexual relationships. Even if you can get a friendship out of it, that's still valuable.
I don't know.
Okay, fine. Only go for what you can stick your dick in.
There's nothing left to say.
Yeah.
Pussy destroyer.
Further study of I can happily.
Well, I don't like. No, I can still like. There's still people. Like, yeah, you can pursue them and like you can just be friends or like be friendly with them. But I don't think, in the same way that like we're friends and we like talk all the time and like make time for each other. Like I don't think I can do that for like every single woman I go on a date with. It's like be friend, you know what I mean? It's like
that's not what I mean. I'm just saying.
Be like friendly with them. Yeah. Or just like cut them out completely.
None of this shit was related to what I was going to say. What I meant was, a lot of the time you can basically find friends that are good for very specific things. Like, for example, you can have a friend who's just there to talk art or whatever, or just like a specific topic. Like, basically, an expert friend. They're just like, they specialize in something, you get something out of it, and it's nice to have them around for that thing. You don't need to have like a universal ultimate friend. You can have a bunch of different friends.
Yeah, which I do.
Nah, you don't seem like that.
Yeah, I do. Trust me.
Okay, well now that you said that, I completely changed my mind. You're too persuasive, Isaac. Please give me a chance here, Jesus.
You will. What was it?
You just say no, you, and I'm like, oh shit. That's
I'm thinking of like fucking Galadriel from Lord of the Rings, where she's like trying to convince the ring to like listen to her. She's like, "You will love me and despair." And they're kind of like,
no, she wasn't talking that, saying that to the fucking ring. She was saying that when they're trying to give her the ring. She's like, "Oh, I will become more beautiful and powerful than the world has ever known. Fear me and despair."
No, she's like trying to dominate the ring.
That's not what I remember at all.
She says it's like a new master. You should have a new master. She's like trying to get the ring to like do like listen to her basically.
That's not how I remember that shit at all. I remember a bunch of hobbits like extended the ring to her, and then she was like trying to scare them. Like Gandalf did something similar. Like,
no, because it was just her.
Do not hand it over, Frodo.
No, she's like with Frodo on his own, and there's like the glimmering pool or whatever, and then he's like, the ring is like
Maybe
on
you
a.
can take it. That's what I remember.
The ring is on a. It's like it's on like a stone, like pillar or something, like a stone table. And then she's like, she stands over it, and she's like, she goes all like crazy, like bright colors and like magic
Inverted
aura.
colors.
Yeah, and then she's like, new master, and like, you should have a queen. Yeah, she says you'll have a queen.
Yes, because she's talking about what would hypothetically happen if she took the ring. She would dominate the world and they would have a new lord. I don't remember that being like directed at the ring. Hey Isaac, here's the
I'm
plan.
watching the scene
Let's rewatch it.
That's what I'm doing now.
Well, I thought that we'd have an excuse to watch the entire movie, but apparently
Fuck that.
I need to find other friends. Fuck it. Okay, well. You know what? This has been good. I appreciate the time we've spent together, but I think it's about time we moved on.
Yeah, because she's like, Frodo's holding it, she's like, my heart's greatly desired this, reaching a hand out to grab the ring.
Yeah.
She's staring at it.
Okay,
So
I'll let
in
you.
place of a dark lord, you should have a queen.
Yeah, again, I don't. To me, that never felt like it was aimed at the ring. Like, to me, this is all in the context of Frodo. Maybe you could take it. You're powerful. You're like disciplined and self-contained. And she's like, no, 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 no. You do not know what you ask. Instead of a dark lord, you would have a dark queen, more
No, like
beautiful and powerful. No,
she's like completely trying to like make the ring, but like bow to her commands, but like be her power instead. Because it's like, instead of a dark lord, so it's like the ring has a dark lord, which is Sauron. So the Sauron is the master of the ring.
The world had a dark lord.
Not really.
Not really.
No, 'cause
Fucking world conquest, baby.
Like, 'cause Sauron didn't control the world. He got defeated. He never actually had control of the world.
Sure.
So then, when she does the whole like screaming
Okay,
light
how to
thing,
put this? Just because he didn't conquer the world didn't mean that the world didn't have to contend with the fact that there was a Dark Lord.
and then she's like, she says, instead of a dark lord, you shall have a queen. Who is the you in that sentence?
Frodo.
But Frodo doesn't have a dark lord.
Oh my fucking god, Isaac, you're interpreting Dark Lord as a fucking master instead of just you're trading one situation for another. Like, they used to have to deal with Sauron, and if he gave her the ring, they just have to deal with Dark Galadriel.
Just watching the scene now.
Like, I don't remember anything about that scene that contradicts what I said or supports what you say. It's not like the interpretation is impossible, it's just... it doesn't align.
You offer it to me freely.
You fool.
It's like, you offer it to me freely. My heart has greatly desired this, the ring.
Mm-hmm. Like, she's talking to Frodo up until that point. At what point does she just swap, according to you?
She's like staring directly at the ring and reaching out to it. Because like...
So you don't think she's been addressing Frodo ever since she put eyes on it?
No, because it's like... Because like, if she's talking to the ring,
Yeah.
right? Like, Frodo isn't the Dark Lord of the ring, right? So the Dark Lord of the ring is Sauron. So, like, instead of a Dark Lord, so like, Frodo, there's no way you can think that Frodo has a Dark Lord. Unless you think Frodo's Dark Lord is the ring.
I don't know what you think that phrase is supposed to mean.
It means that, because throughout the films as well, it says that like the ring has a master. and it's trying to get back to
And
its
you're
master.
synonymizing Lord with Master in this situation.
Yeah, it's like Dark Lord Sauron. Like that is the term Dark Lord is referred to Sauron.
And
Correct,
you
throughout
can
the whole movie.
only, quote unquote, have a Dark Lord if you're directly under. It's like, how do I put this? Like, if we're talking about Hitler, it's like, oh, you would have a femme Führer. It's like, I'm assuming, like, and you're talking to an American. Obviously, you wouldn't be saying that you'd be the Führer of America. You'd be saying you'd have a fucking new Hitler to deal with.
Well, I get what you mean, and like, it's like she's not talking to Frodo.
Okay.
Like she does for a bit, and it's like her like
Yeah, you there.
what you call it? Her like focus switches from him to the ring, because
Sorry, repeat that.
her like focus switches from Frodo to the ring, because throughout the movies it's like
Why
people
won't
thinking they can
anyone
take
look
the
me
ring
in
and
the
be his new
eye?
master and control the ring and its power, and so
Some
it's like
cruel just thank you.
she's thinking like I've desired to take the ring for myself,
Oh, when they
and it's like she's now trying to like dominate the ring and like make it under her control now, and it's like
Have you read the book? Like, can you?
nah, fucking ages ago.
Yeah,
I
okay.
can't remember it.
Because if we had like a fucking second source on this, it would be way less reading into the situation if it's actually happened in the book, because then you get like internal dialogue and proper descriptions. But to me, it feels like the fact that she's keeping eye contact on the ring instead of Frodo is doing all the heavy lifting here. And I'm like, I'm not sure, mate. I don't make eye contact with most people. Doesn't mean I'm talking to the fucking ground. You feel me? Now I'm saying. Also, not sure why we're even talking about it. Time to get pounded by the Dark Knight here. Betting on a horse. Setting my course. Keep kicking his oars. Ow, Jesus. Oh, fuck. I didn't know we could do that. Uh-oh. Oh, my. Really? Are you fucking shitting me?
That's all speech from the book. You give me ring, and now at last it comes. You will give me the ring freely. In place of the Dark Lord.
You will give me the ring freely. That's pretty much addressing Frodo, isn't it?
Yeah, but then it's like, in place of the Dark Lord, you will
Have a
set
dark
up,
queen.
set up a queen,
Weird phrasing, but okay.
and I shall not be dark, beautiful, and terrible as the morning and the night. She lifted up her hand, and from the ring. She lifted up her hand, and from the ring that she wore, there issued a great light that illuminated her land. She stood before Frodo, screaming, seeming now tall beyond measurement. That handful of lands. Like, since she says, I passed the test. So it's like,
What's that got to do with anything?
so like, so she's passed a test. So what was the, she's been like taking a test, right, before. So it's like she's testing something, right?
To me, the interpretation is that the test is resisting the ring.
So yeah, but so like resisting the ring, but then so she's been trying to take the ring. So she's been trying to like make the ring hers. And so the way she's like saying all this stuff is like she's saying it to the ring. She's like trying to, because it's like it's set up throughout the movies that it's like the ring has a master and it has its like its own mind and it has a power and it like listens to Sauron only, and like Gandalf says that it's like it only listens to Sauron. So it's like, how would she be able to control the ring unless the ring had her as the master now? So that's why I think it's like she's trying to like, because it's like she's trying to
I don't know why
convince
this is
the ring.
relevant.
Like she's trying
she's a
to,
worthy lord. That's what you mean.
yeah, she's like basically talking to the ring and like trying to use her magic to almost like
Why
convince
the
the
fuck did she
ring.
take it? If she's convinced she's not worthy of the ring, why the fuck did she take it? I'm confused. What do you mean?
No, she's not. She's like, it's almost like there's a reaction. She's like, there's some sort of, it's almost like the ring is alive. So like,
Yes.
she's using magic. She's like attacking the ring, right? To like feel that it like has changed master to like it's now like doing what she wants, right? But then it's
Okay.
like it doesn't do what she wants. It doesn't like fall under her command. So it's like, but then that's where the confusing of like passing the test, because it's like in her mind, like you'd think that she would want the ring's power. So you think she'd say she failed the test to like get the power of the ring. So it's all a bit like confusing.
We got wildly different interpretations.
Yeah. That's what, like the phrasing in the book. In place of the Dark Lord, we will set up a queen.
That's also really weird phrase.
Like, so who's setting up the queen? The ring. Like the ring gives her the power to become a queen? 'Cause why would Frodo give her power to be a queen?
But like, the ring is known for the fucking temptations it gives.
But
Like,
there's
not
also
every-
in a scene where there's like visions and mirrors.
like, it's not like the ring has been picked up by only Dark Lords.
No, but it's like it's almost like the idea that like the ring never really gives true power to anyone. It's like it kind of lets them turn invisible, or like
Yeah.
that isn't the limit of its power. I'm thinking it's like
Sure, but what's the
ring's, like,
point
withholding.
that Galadriel would have that for some reason?
no. Well, that's what I mean. So as in like the ring chooses to give power.
Yeah.
And so it only chooses to give power to Sauron because Sauron is the ring's master. And so Galadriel thinks, I can have all the power of the ring if I make the ring, like, if I become the ring's new master. So I have to try and overpower it or convince it or, like, use my magic to try and, like, dominate it. So that's why I think it's like she's trying to use magic to, like, dominate and control the ring now, like, become the ring's new master. Whereas you thought she was like talking to Frodo.
Yeah.
The whole Dark Lord thing.
Not just fucking talking to Frodo, explaining to him why he shouldn't pass the ring on to her. Because that's the
I think it's
context of the scene.
Yeah. He's like, yeah,
Like,
but, like,
I
I mean,
see-
it feels like a weird. But it's,
It-
but that,
It doesn't seem weird. Like, he's tried shirking responsibility before with Gandalf, but then he had to fucking explain it to him.
and then for me, it's like I feel like the whole point of it is it's like the ring can tempt anybody. So it's like
Yes.
Galadriel is like supposed to, like she's like magical and has her own ring and she's like super wise and old. Like she should be beyond its like temptation. But like
No, but
fact that-
fucking Gandalf fits that bill too. But it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
seem
but
like
exactly.
anybody's beyond the temptation. Like, that's why the ring is so fucking dangerous.
right, but that's what I mean. So it's
Like,
like
that's why Frodo's so fucking special in this story. He's like the only
Yeah.
one who doesn't seem to be able to be corrupted by it
but
completely.
that's why I mean it's like she almost like succumbs to the temptation of wanting to control the ring. So she tries to like overpower it and become its master through magic. So that's why I feel like she's like addressing the ring itself when she's like, you shall have a queen. She's like, it's almost like a spell. She's like casting on the ring.
Okay.
It's like a charm, right? That's what it seems like to me.
I
She's like
mean, they put a lot of
addressing-
bombast into the scene, so
Yeah.
But I thought it was just to make her scary and like get the point across to Frodo that this is a bad idea. Stop thinking like this.
But that is what most of the scene is, because she shows him like in the mirror, in that like pool, like this is the future if like Sauron gets the ring back. Right, we need to destroy it. It's like the Shire will be destroyed and everything will be bad if you don't destroy the ring.
Yes.
But then I feel like also the fact that like the ring's so rare and like she's never actually been in presence of the ring before, like makes it seem that she's like taking an opportunity to try and overpower the ring. It's like
Maybe.
she's like, it's never happened before in her life. She's never had the ring in her possession or near her for her to even
If she
attempt.
wanted the ring, where would she take it?
No, because she knows like holding it is irrelevant, because the ring like chooses to give the power. So like she's trying to like dominate it like magically first, so it becomes her thing. Because she could just hold it and it doesn't do it. It just like corrupts her or does what it wants.
So
It's
you
like
think
not
she
literally-
failed and therefore she didn't take it?
It's like she's trying to tame the ring, basically.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
so she
you would,
failed
it's a
to
sexy
tame it.
ring.
Yeah, so she like failed to tame it, so there's no point in her having it, because it like it won't give her any power, because it's still not. She's not her master. It's master.
Hold on.
I have watched all the rings like a gazillion times, over and over and over.
Okay. Doesn't mean you can leave with the same wrong interpretation.
It's not wrong. I met Tolkien. Okay, he told me. That's what he meant.
That's almost
But that, like,
impressive.
that is such a weird phrase, like set up a queen.
I know!
What
That's
the
why I
fuck?
said it's very funky phrasing.
I mean, that doesn't. It's not like old English. It's like, even though Tolkien, he wrote that 70 years ago or something. Like I've never heard that like type of speaking.
Like,
Set up a it seems like
like-
anticlimactic.
there's a lot. You don't just change words when you go back to the old English, okay? The phrasing becomes fucking insane.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I don't mean ye old. I mean like you know, like wartime. You know, like in 40s or just like it was some sort of common phrase or some slang or some sort of thing.
Like, I know what you mean, but that's not what he used. Like, he talks very archaically.
Yeah.
Or writes very archaically in his books. Oh my god, if he actually walked around talking like this, that'd be fucking funny.
The queen.
Yeah, exactly. Tolkien just walks around talking about setting up queens. It's like, are you trying to assassinate the queen?
Or
What
it's
do you mean
like,
set her up?
yeah. He's like, he's not going to say like, oh. He's like, he's paying someone to like teach him to do something. It's like, you will set me up as a payment person. You know what I mean? It's like,
Very weird phrasing.
yeah. I think I tried reading Fellowship of the Ring relatively recently, and it was like hundreds of pages, and like we still haven't left the Shire yet. And it's like, God.
Oh yeah. Like, you have to have an appreciation for language, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm not sure that's true. There's plenty of people who enjoy it who don't seem like they do that, but Tolkien himself was like that, and
Yeah.
it feels like he made the books.
It's like patience for it, basically.
Yeah. Like, yeah. God, I was about to just repeat myself. You need to have an appreciation for language. Shit, I mean, you need to have an appreciation for language.
Yeah.
Why the fuck are we talking about this, Isaac? Are you gonna date Galadriel? What the fuck is your point?
Yeah.
Ooh. And you shall have a dark queen. Now that's relationship material.
I'll be the Dark Queen. We can roll.
Nice.
She can be Frodo.
Oh no.
Dear God. Wait, isn't Frodo like 50 at the start?
Huh?
Trying to think
Well,
of-
hobbits live a little bit longer than the average person.
Yeah. But then she is married though. She has that like up there son like ping guy. Above king. Like Galadriel has
Isn't it Elrond?
No. Elrond is like Rivendell elves.
Yeah.
Is it?
But it's really glad they were married, even though they don't.
No.
Mhm.
She's got you remember when they go to the forest, there's like the other sort of guy with her.
No. Try
name
again,
is-
Isaac. You can't fool me.
His name is Celeborn.
He's born in a cellar?
He's like an
Ella,
elf dude.
Ella, under my cellar.
Lord of Lothlorien. Celeborn. Was he
Was he?
Legolas? No. Children. So Legolas is woodland elf. Is he from there?
I don't know, you tell me. You're apparently the expert here.
Yeah. Ooh.
Bless you, my child.
Parent. Oh, Thranduil. Oh.
Wait, isn't that one of the elves that already crossed the sea?
So he's the one, they're like the king and the hobbit.
Not really, no.
So you know the Hobbit, there's like the elf king who like is one of the armies. He has
Oh,
like
yeah.
a
Oh,
fucked
yeah.
up, fucked up face. That's like Elrond. That's Legolas's father.
Cool dad.
He's from Mirkwood.
I'll mark him in a
Elrond
second.
is like separate. You have like Lothlorien, Mirkwood, and well, actually Mirkwood. I think isn't Mirkwood the name of Lothlorien? It's like the human name. Let me look.
No, Lothlorien is like a city. Lothlorien might have been in Mirkwood. I mix up too many names. I'm not
Yeah,
reliable.
Yeah, I can't remember now. Mirkwood.
Haha, loser. Can't even remember something that simple. And you call yourself a fan? Oh, I've seen Lord of the Rings so often.
You're trying to like embarrass me in front of all your viewers.
What viewers?
AKA me.
Yeah, exactly.
Most remaining teams left have in Lothlorien. So no, Lothlorien was a forest. Misty mountains. Yeah, so like
Mirkwood
Mirkwood
was
and...
south of that.
Let me have a look. Let me get the map up.
Ah, yes. I miss maps.
I see people doing like world building maps and I'm like, why you waste your time? Like, or it's like, no one cares about this as much as you do. Like, you know what I mean?
Incorrect.
Like, I feel like, I just
You're,
feel like I just
you're
don't
talking
give a
to the wrong guy for this argument, I think.
It's like, I can see the value in it, it's like world building aspect, but it's like,
And like, I don't think most people care about that, but I find value in it. And it's not just that, like it. How to put this?
it's more like if I don't know anything else, then the map is useless. Like if I don't have the story and everything, it's like, you're just showing me a map. It's like,
No.
whatever.
What's your point, Isaac?
It just seems like people invest time in making a map instead of actually like making the story or like telling the story. So it's like, but they're trying to equate it to like,
But Isaac, it's world building.
yeah, but it's like empty without the
Depending
rest
on
of the
your-
world. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but sometimes you build the world for the sake of, like, exploring a narrative. Wait, I'm not sure I phrased that correctly. Sometimes you just want to make the world and then let the narrative come from that instead of making the world around the narrative.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's how... Well, oh my
the stream to catch up.
Jesus, I did not see that coming. Woo! Get fucked, brother bear! Woo!
I think I've heard of it. It's like
Oh
just,
god, I hate it.
this is just like spawn random. It's like
No, it's like one mob turns into it for some reason. Shit! It gets fucked!
imagine like the first time that happens to you, like mother.
That is the first time it happened to me. I've heard about this, but I never found the character. Jesus Christ, and I get a larval tear. Hell yeah.
But is it, okay, does it have like unique loot?
A larval tear. It's rare. It's useful for reincarnations. Where were we?
Yeah, so on this map it seems like
Oh, we were talking about the value of maps.
yeah. But like
I'm pretty sure
Lothlorien-
George R. R. Martin did like this. He probably had like some ideas from the beginning, like some visuals, but he just like started making characters and the world and the relationships and then built the story.
Yeah.
That seems like how he did it.
And I guess it's like depending on like the scale of like character influence, like it's like Game of Thrones, you have like leaders of nations. So when it's like, do we send an army and logistics, and if you're planning like large
Exactly,
scale
like
things,
everything is so fucking political and
yeah,
war related, and borders start mattering and shit like that. The map becomes important.
So on
like,
the- where's-
like even if he never see, it's probably important for George R. R. Martin just so he can have like an understanding of what the fuck he's talking about.
it seems like Mirkwood is like fucking huge compared to like
It seemed like it
Fangorn and
like
Lorien.
I think it was like just east of the Misty Mountains, and it covered.
Yeah.
It went almost all the way to Mordor.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Where is the Misty Man? I'm trying to like.
Wait, Lothlorien was over by the Lonely Mountain.
No. So, you know, you have the Misty Mountains, like the ridge of mountains.
Yeah.
So it's like more like the mines of Moria there. Like, you know, they go through Moria and they end up in Lothlorien. So like
Was that
Lothlorien is like a
things?
very small forest.
I don't know why I can't remember this shit. Okay, yeah.
You know, like after Gandalf dies,
Yeah. Where
Then
was
they meet the
Rivendell? Was
Rivendell.
that in
is...
Lothlorien? Jesus Christ! What the
No,
fuck?
no. Rivendell's like the other side of the Misty Mountains. I'm trying to find it on the map. I can't
So
see it.
wait, was Lothlorien before? Wasn't?
No. So they start like the Shire is in the
Yes.
west, right?
Yes.
So they go west from
Better.
the Shire. They go from the Shire and they go to like Bree, the like prancing pony and shit. And then
Prancing pony and shit.
they go like so Rivendell is like along the Misty Mountains, but like more towards the north. So then they go like south from Rivendell to Moria, and they cross the mountains by going underneath the mountains through Moria.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know they tried to go over the top, and like Saruman kept like fucking them up with like snow avalanches and stuff.
As opposed to
So
what
they're
are
like-
the avalanche, Isaac?
Yeah, exactly. So like then let's just like Gimli's like, let's take the mines of Moria. It's like my cousin, blah blah blah. And they go for
They call it a mine. A mine.
so like Gandalf dies, they escape, and they like get across through the mountains,
Yeah.
and they're on the other side now. But that's where like Lothlorien is.
And Rivendell was just later on.
No, Rivendell was like way before Moria. Rivendell's like near Bree in the Shire.
Was it really that close?
Yeah, because remember they like make the Fellowship first, before they go to Moria.
For some reason, my chronology is fucked.
Yeah. It's like the hobbits leave the Shire, they meet Aragorn in Bree, then they see the trolls, and then they go to Rivendell because like Frodo gets stabbed by one of the wraiths. And that's like the fight. So they're at Rivendell, and that's where the Fellowship is made. All the elves, like Gimli and Legolas, they all like get together. And then they start traveling. And then after that is when they go through the mines of Moria. They meet. Galadriel Gandalf dies. The league separated. And yeah.
Shit.
Oh, okay. So the Lonely Mountain is like really far north.
Yeah, yeah. It's like at the border of the map, east of Misty
Yeah.
Mountains.
So that's why Mirkwood is there, because the Wood Elves, yeah.
And
What's
then,
Dol-Guldur?
is it like south and or east of Mirkwood is the plains of Rohan?
It's like it's more like it's like directly south, but like a slightly tiny bit west. It's like straight south.
Was it really that close to the Misty Mountains? Okay.
Yeah, on here it is on the map I'm looking at.
Okay. That's probably right, honestly.
And then like Gondor is like further south than that.
Isn't that like way south over by the coast? Oh no,
Yeah.
it's shit then. Is it actually?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like
And
right next to
Minas
Mordor.
Tirith was basically on the border of
Yeah.
Mordor, all the way to the east.
Yeah.
Okay. How is this gonna help you get a date, Isaac? I don't know why I phrased it that way. The problem is getting the date. You got plenty of those.
Yeah.
How is this gonna help you get a baby mama?
Who knows?
Are you gonna bombard her with Lord of the Rings lore?
See if she can handle it.
Huh?
See if she can handle it.
If she can handle your Lord of the Rings lore?
She's a nerd, like me.
Yeah. Oh my god, fucking Jesus. Is it reloading? Fuck off. Jesus! It comes out so fast! Oh. Man, who the fuck invented the ballista?
Istid Val. Istid. I just felt the Istid was like ball.
I don't even know.
Yeah, balls. I wonder if it came from that ball. Like, it doesn't really make sense that it would.
What do you mean? That's what
Like, the word
they're known
ballista
for.
has like... Yeah, they shoot tennis balls.
I'm just imagining those fucking baseball machines boom, 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 going rapid fire. It's like, oh my god, we're never gonna survive!
I wonder if, like, the term ballista came first. So it was like ballista means like shoot, and so ball is like something you shoot or like throw.
Well, Isaac, you came to the wrong place because it just so happens that I'm no fucking clue.
Oh, what you see? Oh, here we go.
What
The
do you see?
ballista, Greek ballistra, and that from the word ballo, which means throw. So B-A-L-L-O means throw. So I guess ball comes from that, it's like a throw ball. But then like
Yeah, that's what
throwing,
they want you to think, Isaac.
you're like
You're a
instead of
fool.
throw, you're like throwing a bolt. So it's like your
Yeah.
bolt throw.
Like, they use the term throw for basically anything that launches anything.
Yeah. So look out, it's a ball. And it's like, oh, it's just a ball. It's like, no, it's a ball. And it blasts through your fucking head.
Boom.
Oh no.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get wrecked by double crabs. Haha. Actually, they're gonna wreck each other, maybe. Oh
Double
my god,
crabs.
Jesus.
Like the STD double crabs.
I got a double dose of crabs. Jesus Christ. It was fun visiting the Roast Me Reddit.
Yeah, you think you mentioned that, didn't you?
Yeah.
I've never been.
Like, because you get like rare insults. One of the funniest ones was a grandma holding the sign "Roast me," and somebody just said, "Oh my God, you look." Oh, can I even phrase this correctly?
Already done.
You're
Cooked already.
no. You're. You look like your pussy's so dry your crabs are riding on camels.
Jeez.
It's pretty funny. It's like, it just feels like one of those Cards Against Humanity trump cards. It's like, I'm not sure if it was actually perfect for the context, but it's still funny. Oh, Isaac, I want to show you something. Are you watching the stream? Check out my hidden power.
Well, I'm watching with a delay, so...
Yeah.
What hidden power?
I'm gonna make my screen explode! Oh, fuck! Come on, then. Let's go, you cheeky cat.
Watching you ride a horse. I'm watching you ride a horse. Oh, you're
How fucking
attacking.
delayed is that?
You're attacking some big puffballs.
Hell yeah.
And they're going to explode now.
And then my sixth sense kicks in.
Yeah, the crab swings at you.
I was amazed I dodged that. Like, holding around like this is what I enjoy about the game. Like, how do I put this? It's like, it's almost ironic how bad I find some of the decisions that they make. I actually hate the fact that the world seems so barren. And you have, like, Rhea Lucaria, which is basically fucking Hogwarts. But for some reason, even the goddamn wizards are trying to attack you. Even though their only real interest is to, like, explore magic. So why the fuck are they attacking you? So for some reason, they couldn't make that place, like, somewhat non-hostile or have like normal civilizations around. It's only like 1 or 2 sane people in the entire world. I don't like that. And it kind of bothers me how there's like, okay, so there's basically no civilization left is what you're telling me. But
but like my impression of like these worlds is that like most people you meet are like undead. So they're like zombies, like brain dead, like withered fucking like soulless zombies.
yeah, but even in Dark Souls 1, you were technically the chosen undead. So you had like, but you weren't hollow. Like that was the main distinction.
Yeah, so it's like everything around you's a hollow. So they're just like fucking animated corpses. So they just attack you.
Yeah, but like the thing that's so fucking frustrating about that is that, okay, so what the fuck happens when I finish the game? Like everything's fucked.
Yeah.
What am I trying to save here? Like everything's fucked. Like what I'm gonna say? Fucking Framp, the fucking insane snake dude. Is he the one I care about? Like who am I saving here? Who am I caring about? But like
yourself.
So like, despite how barren this game feels, it'll almost be better if they didn't have the NPCs here, or at least the fucking quest lines for them. Because I feel so fucking stressed doing the quest lines because I don't understand what the fuck triggers the failure of a lot of the quests. It just feels like I'm arbitrarily and randomly punished, and I fucking hate that feeling. And not only does it feel bad when it happens, it makes me feel bad all the time because I'm worried about it happening. It's like, it's so fucking aggravating. So like, they've added something that detracts from the experience for me. And then even if you finish the fucking quest, most of them die anyway. So it's like, again, why do I even care? Like, why do I bother doing anything? It's like, I feel like I'm getting punished for getting invested. It's so fucking...
It's like my impression of the world. It was like, or initially the initial Dark Souls. it's like.
Sorry, yeah.
You're like you're in sort of like, it's like the undeath is like spreading across the world, so you're like saving the world, you're like stopping it or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like there are kingdoms where there's like people living, but like really far away.
Yeah, like I think you can have that sort of impression in Dark Souls, but for some reason, like in Elden Ring, it doesn't feel that way at all. Like this feels like this is the world. Like what you see is what you get. But also,
But then would it still,
but also, like even if that isn't the case, and like all, this is everything that I'm influencing. Like to me, this is the world. This is what I'm saving.
It's like if you could have some sort of
But I
aspect
got
of
no
like,
reason to do it.
it's like the unhallowed people. It's like you can make them whole again, almost. Like you can kind of revive the areas, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So like
by changing the nature of undeath
Like-
and the cycle on bringing fire back or turning it dark again, you're gonna have a different future.
that would be cool.
But what?
Imagine if they had like a Souls game where it's like the first playthrough is like you're like returning the world back to like the living, and then like the second playthrough is like completely different. It's like all the people are alive, and it's more about like the like normal like politics and nations and like
Yeah, it would be fun to explore the world in different states, but
imagine
you're
if you
describing
had like,
a shitload of work, so I don't know how relevant it is.
no, but like it would make it would feel more consistent, because that's what it's like. For me, it feels like the world is like in this weird like in between limbo where
Yeah.
people they've been like afflicted by this like curse, and you're like removing the curse, but like you never actually see the curse being lifted. So it just feels like the world is dead. What's the point? Everyone's dead.
Yes.
Like what? Why even bother with anything? Everyone's dead.
Yes. Welcome to how I feel.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they want you to feel.
Well, good fucking job.
Like, you wanna learn
Is that an achievement? I don't know.
Well, if like that was their intention and that's what you feel, then for them it's probably good. But then it's like
I'm sorry. What was it supposed to feel again?
if they want you to feel useless, like you feel like you're like you should question. The whole point is you questioning why you're playing the game. Because it's like everyone in the world's dead.
They're playing with. They're treading on very dangerous ground. They're playing with fire. I'm not sure that's a good idea. It's like,
Yeah.
do you remember the game? Oh, what the fuck was it called? Something Line, the shooter game. Let's hold the line.
Line. The line?
Yeah,
Yes, it's
actually,
animation.
I think the line was actually like the subtitle to it.
Shooting game? The line.
Like they
the
had a
Division,
scene with
you
the.
mean?
No, they had a scene about like white phosphorus, and like the conversation around the game was really weird to me.
Yeah. I know you. I played it.
It was something the line.
Yeah.
Because like
And
when people talked
yeah.
about it, they talked about how like, oh, it's kind of artistic, and basically underlying message is the only way to win is to not play the game. Sort of like how war is, I think was supposed to be the metaphor, and we're like, okay, let's be honest. You can make a really bad game where that's also the message, but is that really a good thing, a good idea? Does that make a good game so long as that's the message? It takes it to a very weird place. So I was always skeptical to that interpretation of it. Did you have fun with it?
I can't remember it. Like I don't know
Sounds
if
like
I
it made
even
an impression.
completed it. I played it like I don't remember what it's called.
Spec Ops the line.
Yeah, that's probably it. There's an animation studio in London called The Line, so I kept thinking it's not The Line, that's the studio. That's like a animation
It
studio.
is Spec Ops the line, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I was
Sounds
about to call
alright.
it Ghost Recon the line. comparison to that, then yeah.
They've got every other name for like every other Ghost Recon. Or like fucking Splinter Cell. Like Splinter Cell, something like that.
Yeah. But that's it, like all these names are so fucking similar to me and like military themed. So it's all just blurry. It's all the fucking same.
Yeah. Because I haven't really played any, like I played Halo Infinite, like FPSs I played like Halo Infinite and Doom. That's about it. Like
God,
ages.
I still want to play Doom.
It is good. Do you have the game? Do you own it?
No, but I just like
Use
start
my
my.
library.
Oh yeah, good. Isn't it? Oh, you have it on Steam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one do I have?
Because I was planning on just playing it on Game Pass.
Oh yeah.
They're probably still giving me like a month for £1 or whatever. Which, I want to meet the wizard who made that shit happen.
Yeah.
Give the man a raise.
So weird to think, like, apparently the last time I played Doom Eternal was 2 years ago. Which does not seem right. But I guess
Doom
it is.
Eternal wasn't that old.
No, but still, like, it feels like I just sort of finished it, but it was 2 years ago. So the whole pandemic shit, like, just time disappeared.
It's a temporal warp.
Yeah. The original Doom, played it in 2018.
That is not the original Doom.
Yeah, not the original Doom. The one that's just called Doom. It's like the remake, you know, start of the new.
Yeah, but isn't like Doom 2016 or some shit that it's labeled as?
Yeah, that's the one. I'm gonna look at EVE Online again. Let's have a look.
You maniac. It's like... You keep talking about... needing games to like respect your time and shit, and then fucking pull that shit.
Just watching, they do like these trailers for their like big updates.
Are they fun? You like them? You stank
Yeah,
bitch?
I just watch seeing what they do. It's like their decisions we make.
Okay. Make sure to watch the stream to find out why I scream.
Yeah, it's on the other screen.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like, it's kind of annoying, but it also really makes sense why they have these, like, Art of War beetles have duplicates of them, because that increases the likelihood that you find them. But at the same time, because there are duplicates, and sometimes when you attack them, if you already have it, you get nothing for attacking them. You sort of stop doing it because you stop caring. I can't tell which one is better. Like... I wish they could, like, indicate whether or not you had it. Like, make the glow darker or something. So you know whether or not to even bother. Like, if you even have the duplicate, like, why even display them for that matter? Like, why even make them spawn? Like, I think it's because you get crimson flasks out of them, or a flask based on the color that they are. So the blue ones give you blue flasks, the red ones give you red. But you still end up with this annoying bit of design which they fix.
Yeah.
So where are we in life, Isaac? Is this a dog?
Still looking.
Looking?
EVE Online.
Oh, you actually are looking at it, okay.
I'm just watching the, like,
I thought you were fucking with
trailers.
me. And is it worth it? Are they good trailers? Are they fun?
They have like actually really good cinematic trailers. Oh wait, narrative arcs.
Literally don't believe it. Oh yeah, you got these tied up undead that just shout like maniacs and they scare the shit out of me. But they can't do anything.
Yeah. Because like,
Do you hear that? Oh my god, I hope you have the audio on. Jesus! Settle down, lad!
because it's like double talking.
Oh. Yeah, there's that. Not worth it then. Gee, oh my
Yeah, I
god,
just heard.
it's going so fucking hard!
Yeah, I just heard him.
Oh, what a lad.
So this evening is like, it's pretty much all just like visual upgrades, which I guess is right. Just like improved textures and bigger set pieces and look like more asteroids and like bigger
Like,
asteroids.
I'm kind of confused about when the fuck you just have to like give up and start a new engine when it comes to like graphical upgrades. It seems like technically you can have some level of modulation where you just have like piece of tech doesn't really make sense, but like one part of your software that is supposed to do one thing and you only install it once it actually works.
But I think they switched over
Who did?
EVE Online. They did some sort of like,
Did they go to Unreal
32-bit?
because
they did like 64-bit crossover, like they went from 32 to 64.
sure. Good for them.
But then the one issue I had with EVE Online was there was like one big issue is like they have this whole world, but it's like empty, right? It's like it's just
It's
players.
super empty. Yeah.
But like so like the players,
It's
there's
just
no kind
space.
of it's like, but now they're putting in like narrative arcs.
Does that come with like the events?
Kind of, but that's kind of what they need to do. It's like they need like the company itself, like EVE Online, like the what they called fucking. I can't remember now.
Yes, EVE Online, the makers of EVE Online.
What are they called? Fucking CCP or
Iceland
something?
Soft.
CCP.
CCP. That sounds like an organization that hunts down like child molesters. There's something really funny about using fist weapons on the mount and then just bopping them at the back of the head as you run past them. Oh shit, they need to save Alexander.
Like so, the CCP, like the devs, they need to be like actively participating in the setting. Like they need to, like there's the four main like races and like organizations, like the four main like factions. Like those need to like actually have a presence where they like do things in the world, not just like sit there. They actually need to like attack and like invade player space and things like that, right? Like the
Okay.
world has to be like bigger than the players. Almost.
I'm not sure exactly what you mean, Rana. The world has to be bigger than the players, like more than just the community. Is that what you mean?
So like say there's like so
Or like more than an individual player, because yes.
no, kind of like think of it like
I thank just give and I'll don't dally.
the only things that happen in the world are like instigated by players, really, and it's like there doesn't seem to be anything bigger than a player. in a sense. Like the players gonna have groups, but it's like there's like no. The players don't really have an investment in the setting.
Oh, that's...
It's like
Aye.
the faction, like the world doesn't seem real
Once I
because
pondered upon this, I'd heard doesn't
it's like it's just a place for players to hang out, right? Like
Yeah.
the different factions that exist and like the worlds and the planets, like they don't seem to be alive at all. Like the setting has no life to it outside of just players flying around fighting each other like endlessly forever. So it's like
There's no incentive to take sides or get invested.
yeah, there's no like massive global wars. There's no like interesting sort of other forces.
Yeah, because they've kind of gotten that from the communities themselves. Like player factions sort of drive that narrative.
But then it's like, but it's just reached the point where it's just like more interesting because it's just like 5 huge groups just forever fighting at the same territory, like never do anything. They just kind
Did you say territory?
territory. But like, but that's what it was
I
good
prefer
when
territory.
they had the events with the recent expansion, right? The like Triglavian invasion, because it's like the Triglavians were like super powerful and like fucked up the status quo and like took systems from other places and like invaded everybody.
What do you mean by took systems from other places?
So what they did, so in EVE Online, you have all the systems, right? The different solar systems you can jump to and like be in. Like what they
those
actually
systems.
did in the Triglavians, like they literally like wormholed entire systems out of existence and like moved them to their own like universe.
Wow, okay.
So like
Impressive. I should do that
it-
sometime.
like it like removed pathways between areas. So instead of like you can go from like here to here in 10 jumps, it's now 30. And you have to go through like super dangerous territory to get there. So
What the fuck, okay.
and like if the players had things in those systems that existed,
They
like,
also got
they're-
moved.
like they all got moved now, and like where they got moved to is a completely like Triglavian owned territory. And so if you're not
How convenient.
like, and you can build like reputation with the Triglavians where you're like actually like on their side.
That makes it more convenient.
So it's like you can go and live in that system and like
Is that like being a fucking pirate?
yeah, kind of. And it's like it's weird because everyone else is not like in that faction. It's hard to get into that faction. So like it's like interesting and like they totally fucked people over and like it was also you could choose. So when these systems got like taken over, they got taken over because the players could choose to defend them or not, or like fight the forces or pick a side. So all the trolls helped the Triglavians and like completely fucked up all the like transport routes for these big like big organizations.
The shit that's funny about what you're talking about is Warframe had and technically still has something like that. You have like basically on a regular basis Death Stars get made,
Right.
and if the players don't come together to destroy them, they destroy one of the relays, which is one of the hubs that you can go to in the game to like kind of pick up quests and do trades and
Yeah.
buy extra shit. And it's like, I think there was one point where they didn't take it seriously or they didn't care enough, and then one of them actually got destroyed. And I think that's only happened once. And I wonder how serious they are about continuing that shit.
That's what I like. It's like the world
Because-
is bigger than the players. It's like there's something outside of the players that can like keep the keep the scale of the world in there. So it's like it doesn't feel too small because it's just like players running everything. It's like there has to be conflict. There has to be like some sort of like if you want to make the world feel big, it's like There has to be some sort of big powers, right? That's what it feels like.
Maybe one way of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think we've had a thorough discussion about how to make worlds feel bigger. I think I mentioned a few tools that I like, or some methods that are good at doing that are also incredibly cheap. Like, I really liked how Avatar: The Last Airbender did it by just talking about shit that we never saw.
Yeah.
You got like an understanding of a world beyond what you saw. And you also got a sense of the history of, for example, Iroh, where you knew that at some point he'd been a general and they just hint at things. And because of how they execute it, you get a very clear understanding of like what his past must have involved, and you get the important bits without like needing the flashback. And I think that's so fucking useful. It's like, it's the opposite of show don't tell. It's basically telling the important bits and then showing like their reaction to it. It lets you know everything you need to know about that.
That's why it's like if the world feels big, it has a history, and it's like,
Yeah.
if a world's history exists, it's like too big to show it all, because it's like fucking massive. And so like,
Yeah.
and in reality, like how in the real world people like get exposed to history is by like people telling them things, and I'll tell you about things that happen to me. It's like you'll never see them.
Yeah.
And it's, you know what I mean? So
And
it's
that's
like
how
it
it is
has
for
that
most
realism.
people. Like, but just talking about certain things is still like a interesting experience. Sometimes what you don't tell and what you don't show is just as important. I mean, that's basically what stories are. Like, what you could do if you want to be efficient is you just tell the people everything everything the story is about in like a few sentences, and then you're done. Stories aren't about efficiency. Stories about the presentation. Stories about controlling the flow of information in order to keep you interested.
But I feel like with Avatar Airbender, it's like as the series went on, the world felt smaller.
Yeah, because they went to more places.
Yeah.
And then you realize where the edges were. But I think part of the problem is, well,
They could fly.
it didn't feel like... it's like you traveled across the world, but you never got like a good understanding of just how many things were in the world.
Yeah.
Like you went to the Earth Kingdom, and then you went like to one place and then Ba Sing Se, and as far as you know, that's the entire Earth Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of the problem with that. So like that's why like if they referred to more places, like okay, the way they started out, when you were just like at the South Pole, and then you see the map, it's like, oh, this place is huge. And ironically, the more you explore, the smaller it seems, because then you need more references to more places to compensate for the fact that you're traveling.
Well, you got, but then also like I guess showing, like taking time to travel would show the scale. But then because they do like big time skips and they fly and everything, it's like not.
Yeah, but like you need to get to the important
Feasible.
bits. You can't just fucking waste
Yeah.
time traveling and shit like that, unless you're making a fucking show about a black orc. Wink, wink,
Hell
nudge,
yeah.
nudge.
Hell yeah.
But like,
Oh.
I actually like that sort of structure though.
But do you think
like,
like
we
not?
both- Like we both like the idea of making something where you never break continuity and you're always with
Yeah.
the character at all points in the journey.
Yeah. Do you think like
Hey.
showing maps makes the world feel small?
In some ways, yes.
If you show like, say like,
But like in some ways, not doing that can make it seem small because then everything you see
Yeah.
is like the world as far as you know.
Yeah.
Like
But like, what if you show
need
like a
somehow to
partial
hint.
map?
I
So, like-
think that's more interesting because then it's like, oh, there's shit we haven't discovered. So we have no idea how large the
Yeah.
world actually is, but we know there's way more outside of this part that we do see. So I
then
think
does that-
partial maps is like the best thing you can do.
But then that like affects your like perception of like the advancement of the world. Like, so we now in real life we have the whole world because we have satellites and travelers and like technology. So like, if
Well
you in your
observed,
world, but if in your world you only have like partial maps of like
Yeah.
the country you're in, it means there's like no trade between the countries, or it's like primitive or like medieval level, or like less than that, like bronze age, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you have like like a world with lots of trade and traveling and history and like world affairs, but then like you only show like partial maps, then there's like logical inconsistency, because you think,
Depends.
yeah,
Like relative to Europe, we don't have that much insight, like past India, and even India was like mythical early on, and then we didn't even we didn't have a fucking clue that America existed.
Yeah.
But Europe is still pretty fucking big.
yeah.
But if you have satellite technology and you somehow don't have a complete map, then it's like, okay, there's something wrong with your tech.
I think there's also the thing of like visually, like large scale like shots of scenery make the world feel smaller. Like we were talking about, like that you always stay with the character, but like big sort of like establishing shots, or like your character goes to a new city, but like when they go there, you see like a big panning shot of the whole city. Like I feel like that makes it seem smaller. If you know what I mean.
Not sure I agree with that.
But like the times when I was like, I feel like I've
Can you
been
explain it to me?
like, so when I remember playing like Professor Layton or something, and it's like every time you play Professor Layton, it's the place you are seems like big because you're like slowly discovering it, right? And you're like sort of gaining an understanding of where you are. And so if you get like constant, especially if you're traveling a lot, and they're like constantly traveling, and you're like seeing, establishing shots and big shots of the whole cities they're in all the time, and it's like the act of like discovering where you are and like how long it takes to discover it, and like if you see big landmarks in the distance and you like it takes you ages to get there, it's like a tool for like expressing to an audience like how big a place is. Like just showing them an entire city, it's like hard to actually understand like how big it is just from that one shot. Or like big shots like that, because it's like you don't know, like it could take 10 minutes to walk from one end to the other, or it's like the buildings could be massive or small, and it's like you're diminishing the scale of it by showing it all. If you know what I mean.
I don't even know how to do that. Like, London's a big city, but it doesn't sound like it should take you 1 or 2 hours to get from one side to the other. But that's what you're telling me is the experience.
No, it's more. I think it's more to do with the fact that it's like, if you're trying to make a city seem big, if you're doing like if you're like looking down at the city, if you're like, your view of it is from above and you're seeing the whole city, it's like you instantly make it seem smaller, because like the scale of it is like lost. Because it's like you already know, because like, you can't discover it as you're traveling through it, because you've already like seen it all. to some degree. So it's like the better feeling of like the actual size and scale and like size of a world
Is
to
it
the
walking
viewer.
through it?
Yeah, almost. Or it's like, like viewing it from like from the perspective of you're in the world. So like, like it's the scale and the sort of the feeling like you're in a big world. It's like you have to be small in it, right? So it's like,
I guess.
how do you like push and like make it seem to the audience that they're like small, sort of like compared to the world that the characters in the show is in. So it's like constantly showing them big, like establishing shots and big vistas of like huge places and things. It's like that slowly like degrades their impression that the world is like a big place. That's what it seems like to me. Like example, like Blade Runner. For me, that always seems like a great setting because it's like, even though they do big shots at like the beginning, it's like that's it. And then the scale to which you're seeing the city is like endless. It goes off into the horizon, right? So, and you kind of, and then once you've done that beginning, just like establishment, they never like go back to that. It's like you're always in the nitty gritty on the streets, like the whole movie.
And
so
that's
it's like,
segue.
well, it's like so. It's like it's sort of like you're entering the city, but it doesn't seem like huge because basically what they're showing you is almost like a couple buildings because the city like covers the whole of America or something. It's like far as the eye can see. So their establishing shot is almost like a small town compared to like the actual scale of it.
I guess.
But then they also, but then they like further push the idea that it's massive by never doing big shots again. Like it's you're always with the characters on the street from their perspective.
Isaac, can I waste your time here for a second?
Hell yeah.
I just need to complain about this shit.
What? Eldenring?
Yes. This damn bitch.
Pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished.
I'm
I
on like,
am the witch Renna. I'd heard tell of a Tarnished herd.
So you know someone messaged you in the chat?
Steed, and upon
What, on
looking
Discord?
into the matter,
No, in
the
YouTube.
talk I surmise is of thee. Thou
So
art
they said,
possessed
you
with
joinable for
power,
co-op?
no?
Please,
To call
I'm bored.
forth the spectral steed named
But like,
Tarnished.
can I join you?
Shit. I mean, I don't even know how to do that.
You'd have to like.
As I had hoped.
Well, like,
Can you see
it's
the
swap
timestamp when they
information.
said
This
that?
for thee, by
Like,
Torrent's former
what
master.
would you do? Send me
Tis a bell calling forth.
like how would you even
Summoning
do that?
sign?
Summon
Like
them
being
with it. From ash and return to the
How do
earth
you
tree.
like? Can you just
The
invite and
spirit
join
will
on
obey
Steam
thine
and stuff?
command,
like we
but
we can use passwords, of course.
As
Jesus
they
Christ! I
recall
was just like,
battles
wait, do I invite
past.
him over Steam? No, of
Now
course
it
it
is
is. Why
thine.
we do it?
to do with as thou wishest.
I don't know when he sent that message. I can't see like if there's info or
Yeah,
like
me neither. And I
timestamps.
wasn't paying attention to that at all. I'm fucking talking to you here. I mean,
But does that feel bad for you? Like you had someone watching and wanted to join you, and you didn't.
it could have been fun to do some random shit, but like, I'm not sure how I would do that while talking to you. Like, it would probably be hard to have the conversation at the same time.
I doubt we shall again.
Well, I
meet,
could like watch the stream
but all the
and
same.
like I could basically like not talk to you on Discord and like watch the stream.
How
Yeah.
long will it be, I wonder,
But
before the
I
tarnished
think I'd prefer
tire
this.
of the basins to the two fingers?
Then it's for me like reading that. Like he says, please. It's like it's just someone's like reaching out there and they want to like play with somebody.
like I said, it would have been fun. It's just like I,
Yeah. But like that makes me feel bad, almost.
okay, you know what? Reach out to them and play with them, Isaac.
No, I'm just saying. It's just like an observation.
But God, aren't there timestamps on this? Really?
But I think like, yeah, like or like you should because you have the like.
Because
Do you have like a dashboard, like a live dashboard sort of thing?
Because like according to like my viewership shit, according to my viewership shit, you're not even watching at the moment, so who the fuck knows how this works? But that would mean that he was watching like just past 11, so it's fucking ages ago. Damn it, I was supposed to vent about this goddamn bitch. This is like a piece of design that is like fucking insane to me. How, because of how they structure the game, it's like it's technically possible for you to not get basic, not even game mechanics, but game systems until way later in the game. Like, if you start moving in the other direction, instead of going to the Stormvale gate, when are you gonna be able to level? And then, if you never come back here, when are you gonna be able to summon?
Yeah.
It's like, I can understand, like, hiding weapons and, like, basic shit, like collectibles, and make access to that, like, really obscure, because that's not really important. But these are, like, core aspects of the game. What the fuck?
It's like they leave it open, but then it's like, if you don't do what they say, it's, like, bad for you.
It feels really punishing, is the thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, why is it so important that I need to get to the gate before I can level? I think this is another aspect of, like, traditions in game design for FromSoft, where they've just kept a lot of things around, even though it's completely stopped making sense in, like, an open world like this. Because previously, they did, like, delay when you could start leveling up, I think just so you could get used to dying without feeling bad about losing your souls.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you could spend them on anything yet. And I think, like, it makes sense in that context when it's linear, and you basically make sure that you're able to get it at a certain point, because it's like it's in a controlled environment. But motherfucker, even though this is a 15-second delay, so it loses impact, this is not a controlled environment. This is an open world. Why the fuck is it here? Like, it shouldn't be based on where you go at that point. It should be based on either how many times you've died, how far you've gotten, or how long you've played.
Because it's like...
But that doesn't seem to be the trigger. So that's incredibly confusing to me.
It's like, so there's that woman that, like, visits you, right?
Did you think of Renna, who I just met, or do you mean Melina?
You know, like, when you get the horse and stuff.
Yeah, Melina gives you the ability to level up and gives you the horse.
But it's like, do you have to go to a specific bonfire?
That's what it seemed. Wait. No, because but it seems to be past a point. Like, you have to go through the storm gate.
Yeah.
Because this time I got it at the castle war. Was it? Oh no, it was the Stormhill Shack. It was the Stormhill Shack. But
That's
it seems
like
to be.
Yeah.
But it still seems to be, like, in this direction. So then what the fuck happens if I head
That
down
would
here?
almost be a better way of them doing, like, progressing the story. It's almost like whenever you use a bonfire at certain points, not at places, it's like progressing. Like, whenever you use a like, people visit you at the bonfires. So it's like, if you go different directions, you still sort of progress things because you're still using the bonfires.
Do you know what's so fucking confusing about this for me? This seems like it seems primarily to be like some sort of lore reason. Like, they have to make sure that, oh, Melina is your ability to level up. This has sort of like been a tradition where, like, there's a character that, like, channels your energy and, like, makes you stronger. Like, they had it since Demon Souls with the fucking blind girl.
Yeah.
But after you either beat the first boss or die to the first boss, you're teleported to like the tutorial cave, where she technically interacts with you. Like she's part of the cutscene. Like Torrent sniffs your hand and is like, "Oh, he's not dead yet." Why the fuck couldn't you just have it there, and then you have the ability to level up? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you have to get all the way over here before you're willing to do it? Not to mention, because it's an open world, you don't get to tutorialize people in the same way that you did in the previous games. Why the fuck do they still have this weird tradition? Like, I can't really imagine a benefit. It seems like pure downside to me.
Yeah.
You're
It's like
supposed to
they're
play
kind of-
devil's advocate, Isaac.
Well, it's like, because they're trying to progress it, like transition to a more open world. So they're like, because this is their like first proper like open world thingy. It's like they're keeping tradition and it like part of it. So that the next game will be like what you're saying, like just like full investment into open world. Maybe.
But this is an open world. This isn't a transition to me. I don't know what you mean.
No, as in like, so it is an open world, right? But the developers are keeping like, it's almost like linear path or linear aspects because it's what people are used to from Dark Souls games. So it's like,
What's the linear aspect here? Like, there's not really like the sites of grace are pointing me there, but the game isn't like forcing me in that direction. So should I really be able to, like, for example, explore all the way down here and finish all this shit, or even all the way fucking over here to the fucking bestial clergyman without being able to level up? How does this work?
that's what I mean. It's like they're
Oh shit.
they've tried to get a middle ground where it's like they're like trying to lead you one way, but like giving you the impression you can go where you want, but like
It's a lie.
convince you. They're like trying to convince you to follow the suggestion. So it's like that's where they're trying to make the game go from like linear to free roam, but
Yeah,
they
but
haven't
part of the
actually
problem is that even if they quote unquote guide you, it's not, you don't necessarily know what the guidance involves. So like, I like exploring. I don't want to go in the direction of the main story, but if I have to go in a certain direction to get basic mechanics like leveling up or summoning, of course I'll go there. But just give me the fucking mechanics.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, being unwilling to put up with this shit and just fucking Googled it or asked you straight up, like, when were you able to level up? So I have no idea how long I'd go. You know, maybe we should just start a new game and just start running a direction and see when the fucking melon decides to show up if it don't head in the main direction. Because, like, making it all the way to Radon without being able to level up seems fucking insane.
Yeah.
Where's this bitch? I got him. I wonder how much patience I'd have for your game. That fucking troll shit.
Well, depends if you like sort of PvP and like messing with people. But then it's like a lot of the game would be around like events and like.
Isaac, I'm not sure if you know this, but I hate fun.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's kind of weird that you say that it revolves around events, because that sounds like how they fucking make Genshin Impact.
But it's more for me. The way I thought about it was more like it's like the developers versus the players. It's like the world versus the players.
That's fucking insane to me.
But then it's like we're trying to establish something and then like change it. So or like completely change like the world setting progresses. Like what do you call it? Like get like for definite. Like it doesn't. You can't like replay the same content. It's like
And that's a good idea to do, isn't it?
yeah. When the world's like alive and it's history, it's like if you missed out on something, you missed
The
out.
world don't live. Stop being silly.
They do this. But then it's like, do you think the
But how
fact
are
that-
people gonna know that there even is a history if you don't let them play it? Like,
well, because people will talk about it and make videos, and it'll be like demonstrate, like people in the game will tell you that, and then there'll be reminders in the game, like like a big troll dies and then there's like his skeletons there, whatever. So it's like you're trying to create a world that has like that's like alive, so it has to actually change.
which is where I would try to do shit procedurally.
Yeah, you
I
could.
think part of the problem is like having the ability to do that at like the scale of an MMO.
You wouldn't do it. You could do it like you wouldn't change the entire world at once every time. You know what I mean? It's like
Just try and stop me.
like say a volcano erupts. It's like the area around the volcano is affected, but nowhere else is affected.
Yeah,
So it's like that. It's like places of interest.
I
And so,
remember. I like how you're using that example. I remember us talking about it way back.
Like a volcano would probably affect everything, but yeah.
Yeah, but like it could affect the immediate environment. It could affect the economy of the local town.
Yeah. The one I like a
It
lot
affect the
is like
resources that are available. Shit like that.
the one I kind of liked a lot was like a flood. So it's like you
Yes.
don't actually change the map at all. You just add like 10 foot of water.
Fuck
So
them.
now it's like, how do you get to place to place? Like, you have to swim, like is there logs floating, or do you like make a boat, or you know what I mean?
Yes, but is that history? How do you know
Well,
this
it's like
flood
part
hasn't
of it.
always been there? I don't know.
No, but it's like so the flood happens. So like there's a month of the flood, and then like the flood recedes because like the ground eroded at some point, and like a massive waterfall is now somewhere, or like a mountain collapsed, or like a big tree. You know what I mean? Like all the water got absorbed into the soil, like, but a whole bunch of trees like rotted. So like all the ground's unstable now. So the forest is dead, and like etc. etc. So it's like events leading into each other with like logical consistency.
So is it enough for there just to be like physical changes in the world?
So it's like you have physical changes, but you also have like, say it floods, right? Now, like sea creatures have access to the land. So there's like the enemy, like there's new enemies basically, like giant crabs from the bottom of the ocean, are now on the land, etc. etc.
Okay.
So it's like a combination of environmental.
So gameplay effects then?
Yeah.
Because like I don't understand how you define history. Like,
Well, no, like
it feels weird to refer to things as history unless there's people to speak
Well,
of it.
there would be things that remain. So it's like the player's experience of it. So they have like telling each other the history, but then also
And you're relying on that.
But then also there's like, because a lot of my game is the cosmetics and like physical changes and weapons and things. So it's like the players, there'd be certain cosmetics or things that would get unlocked in the events, and they would never be unlocked again. So it's like you could look at a character and be like, oh, where did you get that like thing or that like mutation? Like, because it's like the trolls, their bodies would change and like plants and things. And
Yeah.
physical changes. So it's like, how do you have like giant claws? It's like, oh, like a huge flood came and like these like crazy sea monsters came out and like eating them like gave you like the mutation for the claws. And then, so that was
Weird.
the logic. It's like, and it wouldn't just be cosmetics, or it could be like special items, or you know, like, because the world would actually the trolls would get like smarter as the game progressed. So you'd go from like cavemen, and then they'd learn to make tools.
Roman
and
soldiers.
Then, yeah, and they'd learn to like build houses, and they'd learn to make like bow and weapons or bow and arrows and things
But
like
aren't all the trolls players?
that. No, there's like
No.
yes, well, there's like player trolls, but there's also like trolls in the world. But like, because there's different like evolutionary like lines of trolls, kind of like how you've got humans and chimpanzees and gorillas, and
Yeah, and
So
it
there's
seems
like-
like the other types of trolls were just enemies.
well, no, they're actually more like NPCs. So like, it's like the players, like the other trolls are, they can be enemies, but also they're like, they're sort of ways for the world to progress, like sort of like, think of NPC trolls as like really smart players. So like in the world you have like,
The players are dumber than them.
yeah, like that's the point. It's like the trolls, the trolls are supposed to be stupid, and it's like as the technology progresses in the setting, it's like there's this like one big troll who like figures out how to like make rope or like tie something to something else, so you get like weapons that you can make. But it's like you have to go to that troll for him to make the weapon for you. And things like that. So like it progresses, like you introduce mechanics in that way where it's like say there's like spears, right? So you get a stick and a stone, and so you take that to the troll and he makes you a spear. So now you have a spear. But if you die or lose that spear, then it's gone, right? Because remember the game saying like you drop everything you're holding. So like, but then as the game progresses into the future, the idea is that like the trolls get smarter. So after that, that's how you introduce the mechanic, and then later on, players can start crafting their own weapons because the logic is like the trolls have gotten more intelligent, or like the civilization and knowledge passed around is like improved.
Okay.
So that's what it's all built on. It's like the world has to like progress. Like the intelligence and civilization level of the trolls progresses the same way as like humans.
So it's actually a civilization game. You can't fool me.
But then it's like a fun way of like introducing mechanics, because then it's like, but also it creates like hubs and like certain locations that are like strategic or allow for player interaction. Because say like everyone wants a spear, they have to go to this one troll, right? So like it pushes all the players into a certain area, which then allows for certain events or certain habits to happen, or like quests, or that sort of thing. It's like points of interest. They like force player act like movie.
Are they gonna be able to fight around them? Do you have like non-hostile areas?
Kind of. What I would have is like a cave entrance. So I think I mentioned this before. Like, the world is like all linked together. So it's like there's no like instant zones apart from certain areas that I choose where it's like there'll be a common entrance, but then as you're walking in, it like transitions to instance. So imagine like zoning in WoW, or like the sharding.
Yeah.
But like it happens as you're walking through a certain point. So say there's a cave with a troll that makes weapons for you. It's like whenever you walk in there, it's just like you on your own with him. But as soon as you walk back out, you're in the big world again with everyone.
Okay, so you are safe while interacting with them.
Yeah, well, or like depending on what the thing is, it could be like 1 player, 10 players, or like it could be a certain limit number of players. Because there could be like it's like multiple player interactions. Like say you want, like there's a troll that learns how to cook food, right? So you want to make a big meal. So you like your group of 5 trolls all carry different ingredients into the cave with him, and like you all want to like interact with the same like pot, right?
God, all this shit sounds so fucking annoyingly inconvenient. But
that's kind of what you want.
I know it forces like player interaction. It's just
it's like old school WoW, where it's like you all have to go to like the mission entrances and like get to the zones and like travel.
Are you sure you want
like,
to make old school WoW? I think.
No, but it's like ideas of that.
Bad.
But then it's supposed to add danger to the setting. It's like you're traveling somewhere and like people can attack you at any time, and
scary.
it's like part of the But then also players have a lot of health, and it's like hard to kill other players. So it's not like someone can just one-shot you like every time you do anything.
You want this game to be trolly as fuck, and know you're gonna be able to do that.
Yeah, but it's more fun to troll someone by like hunting them endlessly forever than it is from one-shotting.
You fucking psycho.
It's like I like you can stalk someone, right, and just shoot an arrow in their back, and they're like, "Where'd that come from?"
Not fun unless they run.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Warwick, Jesus.
It's like the main human hunting technique when they're cavemen. It's like exhaustion hunting.
Endurance something.
Endurance hunting. Or it's like ganging up.
So by the end of it, you both want to die.
So it's like endurance or numbers. So like 10 of us jump against the 3 trolls. So all of our damage together kills them quicker. But there's like always friendly fire in the world. So if we're standing too close to each other swinging, we'll like hit each other.
Fantastic.
So like that's why you pick spears, because they're like, you want the spears because they're like thrust attacks, so it's less likely to hit your own people. And so that's when you get like groups of people with spears, like hunting.
You would do that as you know you play chivalry, you fucking maniac.
I wouldn't know. Like I would play the game like a fucking psycho. Just like I'd see a group of 10 people, I'd just run in and just fucking start swinging, like, and try and fuck around with them and escape.
God damn it.
Like I'd try and do it because you can do a thing where it's like,
why are you like this?
it's like you want disarm ability. So like say someone's carrying like a really valuable weapon, and you like stalk them for ages, like their group, and you find an opportunity to jump in, fucking like disarm, grab it, and just run off.
I mean, of course. Why wouldn't you?
That's what you want.
It sounds like what you're actually making is just a fucking MMO full of thieves. Cause
yeah, but then it's like if you're in groups, it's harder to get things stolen from you. And also, if you have a more clear goal of where you're going.
Okay, so bandits then, is that the preferred term?
But that's the logic. It's like as the world progresses, you go from bandits, and then technology, and you can build things and houses, and like you have bigger quests and like more weapons, and you're more invested in your gear and things. Then it's like people are less likely to like fight each other, and they might be more democratic and things like that.
You're going mad with bro.
And you like facilitate the ability, like you facilitate players to like work together more as it progresses.
That's what you think.
Or like you kind of have enemies that are too difficult, like that can't be beaten unless there's 20 players attacking. But then the maximum group size is 5, so then there has to be 4 groups working together.
I kind of want it to be like Monster Hunter, where
Yeah.
you can have people who are just like fucking insanely good and somehow they solo it, even though it's like, oh, one mistake, it's all over.
Yeah, you can have that kind of stuff. But then it's like to certain degrees, like I'd sort of balance it.
Fuck balance size. It's more fun when it isn't.
One thing I don't like is when there's like players can beat an enemy, but it's like they like cheese it in a certain way where it's like it just takes forever. So like they can kill it, but they do like 1 damage every minute, and it takes them like 3 hours to kill it, and it's just like super fucking boring.
Welcome to Elden.
Yeah, it's like fucking shooting arrows across the map like half an hour.
I told you about this shit, right? How it's really frustrating listening to people talk about difficulty in video games, because people don't understand that you can like measure the effects of difficulty. And like all you care about is basically like the consequences of making a decision. And somehow people think that giving people an easy option in a menu would destroy the game, when Elden Ring gives you the ability to summon a clone of yourself that in some ways are more powerful than you, which like is bad enough in and of itself, but it completely destroys the way you interact with the fight, because it's the boss is no longer interacting with you, it's interacting with the fucking summon. So like it completely, you're not playing the same game anymore. How the fuck is that preferable?
Yeah.
And then like if it's too hard for some people, if they don't have the summon, they're like relegated to shooting poison arrows at a boss like once per 30 seconds because they have to make sure they don't get hit by some bullshit combo. And then that is how they decide to fight the boss. I'm like, oh my god, like this is why bows in Dark Souls games suck so much, because it allows you to circumvent the meaningful interaction with the boss.
Yeah.
But instead of like making it impossible, they just make it miserable. I'm not sure that's a better option.
Yeah.
It's just like, if these are the consequences, are you sure these are the consequences that you want? That's the question you should be asking.
Yeah.
But like, whenever people talk about difficulty in Dark Souls games, they get like weirdly poetic about it. Like, it's what gives the game meaning. It's like, okay, is there such a thing as too hard? And if there is such a thing as too hard, how do you know what that is? And it's like, well, I don't know. Fucking like, then it gets defensive, and it's like, no, we actually can measure this. How you measure it is assume the person is making an honest effort, then measure how much time they're spending doing it, and then allow them to like tune the difficulty so that they spend the same amount of time. Like, if a person kills a boss in 5 minutes and another person spends 2 hours in the same boss, are they having the same experience? Obviously not.
No. But then it's like...
So, like, you're supposed to break it down to the things that you can measure, because getting poetic and unspecific and vague, sure, it's probably great for your ego, but it does nothing to actually find out what the fuck the problems actually are and what you can do about it. You need to be specific. It needs to be actionable.
But
that's what
you
you're
also
looking
want to
for.
know, well, like, understand why it might have taken them so long. It's like,
Yeah.
if it's like you sort of misunderstood a key thing, Like
Yeah.
you need to activate a switch before you fight the boss, and you just didn't realize. So it's
I
like the
think you
boss is
actually-
unkillable.
Isaac, you're actually describing a Demon Souls boss unironically. It's not that you activate the switch. You need to kill an NPC who pretends like he's innocent before you go down there and fight the boss. Otherwise, it'll infinitely respawn.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So it's like-
that idea is like fucking insane, first of all.
Yeah.
Because again, like if you have to make the connection that he's the one responsible, but he's also like just a random. He seems like a random NPC, and he seems fairly innocent, unless you're like loaded with suspicion. But it means like the only way you're gonna be loaded with suspicion is if you've died to the boss so many times that you don't even bother trying to fight it anymore and try to find a way around it. Which is like that is such a fucking insane piece of design. It cracks me up. But it seems like they give FromSoft so much leeway with this shit. Anyway, I think you were trying to say something and then I diverted.
No, it's just about the like. Is it difficult, or is it like they've missed, like their perception or their understanding is like missed a step, so that's why it takes forever. But then you also have
right, yeah.
you have the aspect of like, surely like they could get better because it took so long, right? Like it's like you have certain bosses and it's like there for training the player, and so like after the first 5 bosses, like everyone could be like equally or like on average the same sort of skill level, even though it might take some people the first 5 bosses ages and some people no time. But it's like for the rest of the game they are sort of more capable, so it's like you're using this, you have like a steps in the game which are for training, so like the time it takes for them is regardless, it's like not important, you know what I mean? So you're learning how to play the game.
Yeah, and if you've done the learning already by the time you reach a boss, like basically what you're describing is if people do things in different orders, you should expect them to beat the bosses at different times because they've gone through a certain level, a certain process of learning at that point.
Kind of. Well, I mean, I meant more in the sense, like, you were saying, like, oh, it takes one person 5 minutes to be a boss, but it takes the other guy 2 hours. But, like, the first 5 bosses could be, like, set up in a way where it's supposed to train the players how to play the game. So, like, the average time after the first 5 bosses for every players is more, like, the same.
Yeah.
So it's like learning a new skill, basically, at the first. So like, it doesn't matter that one player takes 5 minutes and one takes 2.5 hours, because it's not so much about it needs to be difficult, or it's like the difficulty. It's more just about like the learning. So it's like some
Yeah, but-
people learn
okay.
at different speeds.
There's certain fundamentals that are going to be carried over to every like boss that you fight. But if you're not doing any learning about the boss itself, it's like, why is this boss here?
Yeah.
Like, the boss needs to be unique in some regard to make it an experience worth having, which means there's going to be some learning involved. And that learning process should take about the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Because then if it just becomes more about like reflexes or like physical attributes, like you understand the fight, but you literally can't press the buttons fast enough.
Yeah, at which point, like, this is actually a legitimate difficulty setting I think they should have, because just outstatting your opponent doesn't necessarily make it like less frustrating, because it doesn't underdress the like what the specific thing you're having difficulty with. It can be that you're just an old man and you process information too slow for this to be like a similar enough experience. If you could actually do time dilation in the game so that like everything moves 10% slower, people could have more similar experiences.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand how much you can get away with just like straight up stating your intent in the game. Like, one thing you have to be worried about when you have difficulty options is that people don't understand what the difficulty options mean and why they should pick one. So if you just tell them that, okay, we've specifically designed this game for, around the fights being certain difficulties, so you should probably try and keep it as difficult as you can, and if there's anything you should change, it's probably the time dilation. If you find that like you just that the speed of the game is just too much for you, or like if all the fights feel like an endurance run, like slightly increase your damage or shit like that, although you have like leveling mechanics for that sort of shit, so how much you need menu options for that is different. But people exaggerate how much of a problem a menu option that makes the game easier actually is.
I wonder, has any games ever done like at the start of the game, you know, these like you do the like visual settings, like make it brighter or something, but like is there ones where it's like they do like a reflex test on you? It's like press the button when you see this, and it's like it like measures your reflexes, and then it like adjusts the game according.
That almost doesn't make sense because you adjust timing over time. Like, for example, when you're fighting Melania, you don't really know when to dodge anyway, and you just try shit until it works. Like, it almost doesn't matter what kind of delay it is. Like, you just try to figure out when you push the button based on the visual cues.
It's, I think maybe like the good example of like stupid difficulty is like Oblivion, where it's like the gameplay doesn't change apart from like the monsters have like more health, so it's like, and they do more damage, so it's like you just spend longer like swinging your sword.
Hell yeah.
Like you have to fight more difficult. It's just the time it takes to swing. Like you're just swinging 10 times more. It's just like super fucking boring.
Yeah, and you also increase the damage that you take by increasing the difficulty, and it's it is really bad.
That's what I mean. Like that's like yeah.
Scaling enemies aren't a bad idea, honestly. It's but
it's just the way, like the actual gameplay of it. It's like, is the experience still like if the experience is like fighting, it's supposed to like feel good about observing and timing and dodging, like.
Yeah, there are multiple ways that a game can be difficult. Like, depending on your opponent, chess is pretty difficult, but comparing it to Dark Souls makes like no fucking sense. It's not like you're testing your reaction time when you're making chess, unless you have some weird fucking mental disability, at which point maybe you're testing your reflexes.
It's like playing chess with like in the middle of like dodgeball, so you have to like dodge dodgeballs.
That's my kind of game, baby.
Playing chess. And then it's like time chess.
Isaac, StarCraft is kind of like real-time chess. That game is fucking insane. It's an action game with toy soldiers because of how much you have to micromanage. Playing that shit competitively, like, unironically, is fucking batshit insane to me.
Yeah, it's like having like how many actions per second.
Yeah, the fact that that is a required metric, like if you want to be competitive, you need to keep that shit up. It's fucking wacky, bruv.
It's like, what's your micro? What's your micro skill, bro?
Exactly. And what is your micro?
Civ micro.
Penis.
I think it was I don't know any games that are like that. Like like that kind of like actions per second.
Yeah, because again, it's a fucking insane requirement. Usually it's about timing, not, oh yeah, you need to press 200 button clicks per second, otherwise you can't compete. What the fuck? What? Name any
like,
other game.
That's where it's like the closest comparison is like sports. It's like F1 drivers that like have to like know how to brake and time their like turns and fucking crazy reaction.
It's fucking hilarious.
Because that is like a physical requirement, isn't it? It's like there's like, it's not a mental requirement. It's like physically actions per second. Basically.
I don't know what you mean. Like they're both. You like you need to be able to respond to something. Like you need to process something and then have a response within a given time. Like both are connected.
That's what I mean. Like a lot of games, like chess, it's like you make the decision. There's no time limit of like,
yeah.
Oh, like which piece should I move? But then it's
But
like,
wouldn't it be better if it did? I mean, you got speed chess.
Yeah. Go. Tired.
Hey, don't abandon me now.
You've got that Pat guy. See if he can play.
Oh yeah, he didn't leave like 2 hours ago.
He's in his bed crying because of you.
My God, Isaac. What are these interpretations?
The world is like a tiny bit darker for him now because you ignored him.
Why are you putting this on me, man?
The light of his life. He didn't.
I didn't realize I had an obligation.
One more small defeat. He put himself out.
One small defeat for man.
He reached out and you slapped his hand away.
I didn't know his hand was there, Isaac. How can I slap it?
Yeah,
How can I slap Isaac?
Like you're just
How can
not,
I slap?
like, you don't care about it. Like,
Correct.
You put yourself out there in live stream. You're like, I'm here for you. Like, I want you.
Yes, a famous quote. I'm here for you.
And you're just
Do you think he knows about his event?
yeah.
Oh my God. Like, part of this makes me wish I didn't fight with a controller and use mouse and keyboard instead. Because then I wouldn't have to lock on. I could still attack, say, his legs pretty easily.
Yeah. I don't have a controller anymore. Well, like I do, but it's like the D-pad doesn't work, so it's like it's good for most games, but not all games.
God, like I actually would be playing with a mouse and keyboard if it wasn't for the insane lock-on effect, where it's just like I barely move the mouse, and oh my God, I'm locked onto something completely different I didn't even know existed. Wow, okay. No, that's good design.
Yeah. Right, I'm off.
No, Isaac, not before me.